Hello, everybody, and welcome to what may be the greatest ASL group of all time. Those of you who are here watching live are here for one reason: to witness history in the making, a rivalry that defined a generation of StarCraft pros. We've got Bisu, Flash, and Jaedong, the three representatives of the race that have been at the very peak throughout the Kespa era and have finally come to this point, meeting each other here in the round of 16 in ASL. It's such an incredible moment. My name is Saiyan SC. I'm joined by Xun, and I could not be happier or more proud to be bringing you guys this live
Yeah,
coverage.
hey, what's up, guys? An absolute honor to be here alongside Saiyan in the casting booth to bring you this absolutely crazy, insane group. Round of 16, Group C, Bisu, Ample, Jaedong, and Flash, like Saiyan was saying, the three respective heads of their races. And honestly, even after all this time, right now, they're all playing pretty much to the peak of their ability. It's absolutely insane that we get to bring you these games and you get to enjoy watching the very best go at it yet again. And this could be Flash's last ever season in the ASL. So I'm so stoked that we are guaranteed a showdown between Jaedong and Flash, one of the oldest and craziest rivalries in competitive gaming history.
Yeah, and Sean, I've been streaming all day today, and I've been talking to a lot of you about the Group C that we have tonight. This group, this absolutely magnificent series of games that we're about to witness, and so many of you guys have been saying, you're taking off work, you're staying home, and just getting settled in. It's just incredible what a moment this is as a StarCraft fan. Never thought that I would be casting Jaedong versus Flash, and for them to be in this incredible of a form as well is absolutely mind blowing. Couldn't have asked for more, aside from maybe like a Jaedong Flash finals, but that could still
Right,
happen,
right.
guys. Two people will be getting out of the group here today. Two players will be making it out. I think that we're pretty likely to have a Jaedong and Flash making it out, but who knows, man? Ample is a beast right now. He picked Jaedong. The amount of confidence there is absolutely insane. Jaedong picked Flash so that he could have a shot at competing against him in what could be Flash's final attempt in Bisu. Uh, you know, He's just kinda stunned by the way things have played out, but he is playing like an absolute beast lately as well. All 3 of these guys are peaking, and Ample is there with a big smile on his face, of course, and just loving it. Hopefully, he can give us a great performance as
Yeah,
well.
I don't like his chances on getting out of this group. I'd give him about, 20 to 1 shot. And for Ample and Bisu to get out of this group, you're looking at something like a 50 to 1. It's most likely gonna be Jaedong and Flash getting out. Maybe one of them does get eliminated and Bisu will be joining them. I definitely think Flash and Jaedong, the clear favorites in this group at the moment, with just how peak their performance has been. And you could definitely see in the group selection ceremony a little bit of shakiness in Bisu's expressions when just after he picked Ample picked Jaedong, and suddenly his head started dipping down. And then when Jaedong picked Flash, he basically said, I don't feel like the seed in this group anymore. And rightfully so. This is the ultimate group of death. We've never had a group quite as intense as this. It's really something special, and I'm glad to be here alongside Saiyan and you guys tuning in from around the world, maybe taking a day off work or whatever you got to do to make sure you don't miss this insane opportunity in StarCraft's history. And I'm so thankful to be here with you, Saiyan.
I'm thankful to be here as well. This feels like a culmination of so many things, so many years of casting and, putting in hours and grinding.
Right.
This is a big moment for the two of us and a big moment for StarCraft in general. We're really looking forward to casting these games. We're going to start off with Bisu versus Ample, and then we're going to be watching Jaedong versus Flash. We're guaranteed that one match between those two. And then we're going to see, who makes it through to the finals and who has to muddle through in the losers match. Um, Sorry, who makes it through the winners
Mm.
match? Uh, Dude, Jaedong and Flash have had such a long history. They've fought each other in ASL in the past before, but I don't think we've ever seen Jaedong peaking in the ASL. I
Right.
feel like he's always been underperforming. He's always been disappointing, but this season is so much different, guys. He has been playing out of his mind in the Pro League and other places. He's been dominating, taking huge prize pools in the Pro League. If you guys don't know, a regular day prize pool for the Pro League is equivalent to the third and fourth place prize pool in ASL. It's kind of insane. Just a single
Yeah.
day of gaming, and you can earn that much money. So these guys play their hearts out. They really, really try to win. And Jaedong is doing things like all killing entire squads. He's just smashing face, and it is just so great to see him in just prime form going into this
Yeah, no,
ASL.
they look fantastically good. I think he was like, what, around 90-ish% win rate in Pro League. It's absolutely bonkers crazy.
Unheard
It's
of. Unheard of.
insane. And I love that we have Pro League in general. I think I said it in your chat on the live stream last night. It's basically like future proofing StarCraft. Like, even if the worst case scenario where we don't have tournaments like this anymore, we're still going to have Pro League. We're still going to have crowd-funded almost daily events where we can still see the best StarCraft players going at it, and I'm really happy about that. I don't think, Jaedong and Flash haven't played each other in a live setting like ASL. 2018 ASL Season 6, quite a long time ago. So it's really special to have them here today. I think they met once in the KCM last year, but yeah, in terms of ASL, it's been a long time since these guys have been able to show down and go at it. Historically, they've played a bit over 50 games, and I think that they're very close to even. Like, it's not quite 50%, but it's very close to 50%. So a real insane rivalry, and you can tell Jaedong's a worthy competitor. There's not many people on the planet that have a 50% win record against Flash, especially with that many games played.
Yeah, and I talk about Bisu a little bit as well, because Bisu is super respected by both Flash
Yeah.
and Jaedong. Jaedong has said that Bisu has some of the best PvZ knowledge, or the best PvZ knowledge in the entire scene, and wanted to face off against him in the Kespa era, but didn't really get the chance. And now with Bisu here, we're getting this kind of interesting situation, guys. If you don't know, Flash, when he was coming up, had this massive upset versus Bisu. One of his first few games when he was coming onto the scene, one of his first big televised games was when he upset Bisu on Monty Hall. Everybody was so mad that he knocked Bisu out of that tournament. And now there's an opportunity here where we could see Bisu upset Flash and then knock him out of the tournament. Imagine how mad everybody would be if Bisu knocked out
Oh my
Flash today.
gosh.
It would be absolutely insane, and what a role reversal from when they first started.
The win record between Bisu and Flash is way worse for Bisu than Jaedong, but it's possible we could see an upset like that happen. And you're absolutely right. That game on Monty Hall was insane. Flash basically proxied barracks and made a gas outside the mineral wall, and then exchanged the minerals for gas to mine out the wall to cheese and beat out Bisu in the early game. Very ingenious strategies. Despite Flash being a very deadly player, he first came out and debuted onto the scene with a lot of creative, cheesy plays, and then switched into being the macro god that we've come to know and love so much. Have no idea exactly how this group is going to pan out today, but my mind and my heart are definitely leaning towards Flash and Jaedong getting out of this group.
Yeah, mine as well, guys. I'm wearing an ASL jacket right now. Not the ones that these guys have on screen, but one of the older ones, the thicker ones, and it's got a big JD on the back. Shout out to Shrimp Lover 420, one of the fans who sent it to me. I've got it on right now. It's the first time ever wearing it, and it's because Jaedong's going to be playing tonight. I'm really hoping he's going to make it through. A big Jaedong fan here, and I've got him as the favorite for this entire tournament, just based on his performance right now. We'll have to see whether or not he makes it through. If he's able to take down Flash, I think that's going to set the tone for the entire group if he's able to take him out first.
Yeah, I'm super curious how how that's going to develop, because the group could be blown wide open. Like, it's entirely possible even that Ample's got like a really specific build prepared for Bisu that Bisu hasn't quite calculated or factored in exactly how to best respond to it, or there's a bit of miss micro, and who knows, maybe even Ample is in the winners match as well. We could see a very bizarre situation where the group is kind of developing in a strange way. We have seen that happen a lot in this ASL already. There's been a lot of underdog stories. Only one of them, though, made it through to the round of 8. YSC, one of the best underdog stories of this season. It would be super insane if somehow Ample does make it out of this group today, but anything's possible. Everyone has a non-zero chance of getting through the group, though, with the best of 3s in the winners, losers, and final match. It's not so easy anymore as the round of 24. So I don't necessarily think he is going to be capable of doing that, but I'm not going to count him out completely. He has been playing pretty solid this season of ASL, and it would be one of the most crazy upsets in history if he somehow breaks out of this group today.
Yeah, that would be wild. Someone was talking to me about the last time that Jaedong and Flash were in the ASL together. They were in a group with Jade. It was Jaedong, Flash, Firebat Hero, and one other Terran player, and he was definitely the underdog. Actually made it through 2-0 in that group. I think it was a round of 24. It's a little different here, though, with best of 3s. And again, Jaedong's level right now is undeniably so much better than it's ever been in the ASL. He's really looking like the Tyrant once again. He's looking like his old form in the Kespa days. And basically everybody's talking about it. All the players are just kind of absolutely blown away by his performance lately. And he's looking like, JVZ. We're not going to have any ZVZ here, but he's been beating players like Soma regularly. He's been beating all the best Zerg players, and he's been smashing face in every single pro league. It's so cool to watch. But this guy is another level we've got on the right hand side of the screen right now. Flash, he's going to come prepared with something that's going to be extremely hard to beat. He is incredibly good at preparing, like we saw at the beginning of his career when he, prepared that amazing build to beat out Bisu that you were talking about earlier. He just knows how to get ready for a series, and he knows exactly how to mind game a player. Jaedong, he does not seem like the type of guy that you can easily mind game, though.
No.
He's the type of guy who, in ZVZ, used to roll a dice or flip a coin to decide which build he was going to go for. So he has his own strategies prepared as well.
Yeah, looking at the guys on stage, I mean, they all seem pretty comfortable. They don't seem too nervous. Bisu was pursing his lips a little bit before speaking. Flash has kind of been quiet off to the side, just massaging his arm a little bit. He has got a wrist injury, which does affect his entire arm. He's been talking about he can only play 10 games a day until that pain starts to set in. He's obviously going to be powering through that pain in his practice, so he's playing a lot more than 10 games a day. But who knows, that could come into a factor. If suddenly there's like a really long, drawn-out couple of best of 3s that he's got to go through, he might be having some fatigue set in and not quite able to play to the best of his ability. But I don't think so. I think Flash should be able to power through the pain no matter what happens here today. He's going to be giving it his all. He said that he's in it to win it. He's not going to aim for a round of 8, round of 4 finish. He wants to win the entire thing as his way of kind of retiring from the ASL scene. So yeah, I imagine Flash is going to be playing like an absolute god today. Jaedong's in peak condition, so I imagine fireworks will be going off in spectacular fashion when they finally do clash in their match. But we got that Bisu versus Ample game to kick things off, and it is going to be Polestar for that first map, which is actually a really good Terran map, both for TVZ and TVP, like a 57% or so win rate. So that's a great way for maybe Ample to find his way into a winner's match, and Flash won't have such a terrible time against Jaedong on that either.
Yeah, so much respect between these two players. They have talked about each other so much. Jaedong and Flash have had a crazy amount of back and forth games in the Kespa era. They've had both had times where they've been absolutely dominant. Uh, Jaedong was just seeming to kind of overtake Flash right at the end of the Kespa era, right as StarCraft 2 was coming out. And, that last year or so, he was looking fantastic. He went into, both of these guys went into StarCraft 2. They had their own successes in StarCraft 2. Both of them switched back. Jaedong just wasn't quite able to recapture that former glory. There wasn't able to quite catch uh, fire in a bottle, wasn't able to catch lightning in a bottle like he used to be able to, like he used to in that Kespa era. But it seems like he's back, man. The
Mm.
Tyrant versus the Ultimate Weapon. That match is going to be in the back of our minds for the entirety of this first game, guys. Bisu versus Ample. Um, of course, we want to see who gets through, but I think everybody's just dying to see what's going to happen with Flash
Yeah, and
Jaedong.
some of the gamers that have played against Jaedong already in ASL have said just how locked in he seems. He definitely has an almost psychopathic laser focus when he's really trying his hardest. And usually he's a really nice guy and very calm and quiet, but you do see him get rowdy in the Pro League, screaming his head off when his team is just not carrying their weight and he's having to basically all kill the enemy team sometimes. It's kind of insane. You usually don't see Jaedong getting emotional, but he loves this game so much that he actually does let his emotions fly, at least when he's not playing.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest parts about watching Pro League, man, is listening to Jaedong pop off. He is so calm and collected on stage, but he has a good time in those streams. Who was it actually that Jaedong played against earlier in the tournament who said he looked exactly or he felt exactly like oh, I think it was
Yeah.
Leda. Leda was saying that he played against Soma a whole bunch of practice games in order to prepare for his matches in the round of
Hmm.
24, and he said when he played against Jaedong, he had the exact same feeling as when he was playing against Soma. He felt the speed was the same, the crispness, the strategy, the way that he was reacting was exactly the same as playing against Soma, and that's really saying
Oh
something.
yeah, like Jaedong is definitely pretty much at his peak performance, and his Pro League results definitely reflect that. I can't think of a better competitor for him than Flash. He's already got a bunch of stars on his jacket. He's looking to get one more before he retires, and that would then mean that he's done even better than players like Sulky, which is kind of insane considering Sulky got 4 back-to-back titles for himself. And yeah, Flash is the actual Bonjour. Like, there's people that out there that consider Sulky a bit of a Bonjour, but to be brutally honest about it, he's not that good in ZVZ. Usually, to be a Bonjour, you have to be pretty much dominant across the board, and there is some argument to be made that, well, actually, Sulky managed to avoid a lot of ZVZs to do what he did. It's still very incredible what he was able to achieve, but, didn't have to play a lot of ZVZs, and his win rate was not much better than 50% in that mirror matchup. Whereas Flash, he's one of these guys that's always had like a 70+% win rate across the board in all 3 matchups. So he's the actual god of StarCraft here.
Yeah, this is the goat on stream. We talked about Jaedong a lot, but Flash, I think he speaks for himself. His name is well known, 4-time ASL champion, played random. He was he was just playing so well, nobody could beat him. He decided to play random, guys. That's just how strong Flash is. He went to the military. He had some time off. He, of course, had a bunch of surgeries on his arm, was struggling with that and recuperating from that. But he is back here and he says he's in it to win it. He says that his condition is good. He's been looking very, very good in the ASL so far. We haven't really seen him too much in Pro League. We haven't really seen him too much in KCM or in other places either, but he's definitely been practicing hard, and he is the guy to look out for right now. He's the guy that everyone's scared of, except for Jaedong. Jaedong picked him himself. He said, "You know what? I like a challenge," and he wants to play against Flash at least one time in his final run in ASL. So he picked him here today. It says a lot about his mentality and his belief in himself that Jaedong picked
Yeah,
Flash going
yeah,
into
big
this group.
respect to Jaedong. He's got balls that reach down to the floor, man. Like, absolute manly Zerg that he is. But currently, we're going to be talking now about Bisu and Ample, the first game of the group. You can see Bisu's statistics on screen there. Very good against Terran, 60% win rate. That's so respectable in the ASL. Anything above 50% is actually impressive. It's so hard for players to maintain a positive win record in such a prestigious event like this. It's going to be giving Ample a run for his money, that's for sure, no matter what happens. However, this is a pretty Terran-sided map we're jumping into on Polestar. Maybe Ample can find a way of navigating himself to that winner's match. I hope Bisu is not underestimating him in any sense of the word. Ample had a pretty fantastic round of 24, kind of through the first game against Sulky, but that macro game on Sylphid was incredible. You can see here, Ample, one of the guys not able to maintain a positive win rate in the ASL because of how insanely hard it is. But, you know, the same for YSC. He's not got a good win record and he's in the round of 8 as well. Same could happen to Ample today if he plays his best and maybe manages to catch Bisu off guard with a very good timing attack or something.
No, it's insanely hard to keep a good win rate. I mean, you got to start somewhere. You showed up first couple of times to the ASL. Almost nobody makes it through the round of 24 in their first attempt. It's incredibly rare, and people usually take at least a few tries to make it through the round of 16 as well. And so Ample here, we'll see if he can pull off a miracle, if he can make it happen, actually get out of this group. I would love to see what the over-under on Ample getting out of this group is on some Korean betting site. Like, what are the chances? Let's get started.
Alright guys, the round of 16, ASL 21, Group C, match number 1, Bisu versus Ample on Polestar.
Bisu spawning up here in the top right. We got Ample down in the bottom left. All right, guys, and before we get started in this Group C, this incredible group, just going into this first game, I want to mention that we have a Patreon page, Saiyan Xun Duocast. If you guys could support us, we'd really super appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's supporting right now. We kind of do this for free. It goes up on Soup and then goes up on StarCastTV after, so we don't really get paid for it, but our salaries and whatever we earn comes from fans like you. So thank you guys so much. I'm gonna hop into this game.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone that does support what we love to do. Super curious to see what the strategies are going to be from these two individuals. Looks like it's most likely going to be a gateway in the natural for Bisu to maybe apply some pressure with like a Zealot Goon or something, but it's cross map. This is going to be favoring Ample now. If this was a Nexus first, this would be great for Bisu with that cross map, but since he's going for a pressure build and Ample is not in close positions, those extra seconds to get to the base actually make a big difference. Let's see if yeah, Ample, he's going to be taking just a 12 gas here. He's not doing a bunker expand or anything, so very orthodox opening from our Terran.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit tough for Bisu to try and get any damage going. Ample doesn't have any SimCity set up just yet, but he should be throwing down an extra supply depot over by that barracks here shortly. Getting into his factory. I gotta see what the follow-up is here from Bisu. Whether he wants to go into a quicker Reaver, just stick on, you know, good amount of goons while getting into a third base, or whether he wants to pull out the Arbiter play. It's been popular recently. We haven't seen it too much in ASL so far. A lot of players playing it on in Pro League and in sponsored matches, but the most powerful build right now, the one that's been strongest as of late, definitely going to be that Reaver into Robo and Storm play. Could be hard to break Ample, though, on 3 bases. This is, a, like you said, a very good map for Terran.
Good end scout from Ample. Saw the Zealot en route in the center. He's got the SimCity with the supply depot. Bisu managed to delay the factory by about a half a second or so, but it's pretty much a 229 factory here. No slowdown really has been achieved, and with the cross map, it's not long before the third Marine pops out to make this very easy to hold. That's why cross map is such a big deal. They effectively will always have 3 Marines to defend that first Zealot. Whereas if it's in close positions, you know, it's only 2 Marines for a few extra seconds, and maybe you can get in there with the Zealot and probe and cause a lot more harassment. Good body blocking, though, from Bisu, keeping that SCV out of his base for the time being, though he does let it slip through his fingers now. He sees the Nexus coming down, and this was, you know, a pretty standard timing of a Nexus. He's cutting his range to do this. This is like a rangeless Nexus, around about 23 supply, to get slightly greedy with his timings.
We'll get that range now. Let's see if he cancels once the SCV is dead. Might feel like he wants to sneak out the faster robo. Don't see anything going down here just yet, and no cancel. So Bisu just going to stick with the range. And has a Dragoon for the wall ample. Should be getting into mines here shortly. Placing those at the third and possibly at the fourth base as well. Here's the robo. After range. Probe headed to top left, though. Probe, I mean, he knows where his opponent is, so this probe is a little bit sneaky. What is the plan here with the probe right now?
I don't know. Maybe he's checking for a possible proxy starport or something. That's definitely in the wheelhouse of Ample. Might be thinking about that. Also, you know, maybe keeping the probe as a scout on the other side of the map early on is good, so there's less chance of a vulture catching it. I think it's just a scout for a proxy starport, though, so I don't think it's anything too crazy here from Bisu.
Yeah, it looks like just a scouting probe. Being a little bit extra careful here, knowing that Ample might want to get a drop going on him early, try to get an early edge. It's just a bit of a push forward with some vultures. Is that 4 Marines or a couple Marines in a tank? What's actually heading around the bottom side right now? I think it's just Marines. Wait, is this a CC? Oh my gosh. Third CC. Wow. Is crazy. Ample throwing that down at 5 minutes 30. This is highly punishable. A lot of players will do this versus a Nexus first, because your observer is a lot later. Bisu just decides to throw it on a Nexus himself. Okay, interesting, very interesting here. I thought he might drop a bunch of gateways and just try to push it across the map and break open Ample, but he decides to drop a Nexus for himself. He may even double expand here off of 2 gateways.
This is a very strong build for this map in particular. Not only is it a gas expansion rather than a mineral only, but, you know, there's some very tight chokes to work with. So if you can defend this, it is so good for Terran. But like you say, this is usually a response to Nexus first to try and leapfrog the early economic advantage of the Protoss. Taking a triple CC of 1 factory is so risky. And, ooh, Bisu eating a mine there. A little bit of a mistake. Does have an observer with these Dragoons, so he should be able to mine sweep the rest of the map towards the Terran, who doesn't have a lot of units right now, but so does Bisu. Like, he went into a fast observer with 1 gateway, so he actually doesn't have a lot of units to attack, and Ample looks like he just barely has enough to defend without really taking any damage.
Actually, he went for 2 gateways, but I don't think he's been building off of all those gateways, Xun.
Okay, yeah.
I think that you could have maybe done something here, but Bisu chooses instead to just add on this extra Nexus. Kind of a surprising decision. You're on 1 factory here as Ample. 3 tanks is all he can muster. If you just make a shuttle here, but with a few zealots and try to like bomb onto these tanks, send in the Dragoons, it's very, very hard to hold. Bisu might regret this decision, but he is going to try to macro through this and power up faster than Ample.
Yeah, it seems like it, and this is really going to suit Ample. Already, this is a very good Terran map, so getting away with this kind of build order is absolutely insane. Wonder what Bisu's follow-up's going to be. I imagine he will have to take a very fast 4th base if he is just going to sit back and let this slide. He has a probe here at the 4th now, And, you know, an 8-minute 4th base, it's not too shabby. I still think that Terran has a slight edge with how quickly this 3rd base has come down. He can make an insane amount of factories gradually as well. Like, he could even go all the way up to like 9. It's insane the amount of power you can have as Terran, though, because you have access to a 3rd gas rather than a mineral only. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll go like, say, 8 factories with a 3rd machine shop. That's another possibility because you have such a crazy amount of gas to work with. And Ample doesn't really have to do anything for a long time. He's just going to sit back and macro up on these 3 bases. He's built a supply depot wall as well, leading into that 3rd base to make himself extra secure. There is a shuttle waiting in the wings towards that 3rd base location. I imagine there's a Reaver in there with a Dragoon or a couple of Zealots.
All right, I was getting a little bit of lag there. If I suddenly cut off, shouldn't just keep talking. I'll go back to take over. Seems like it's okay now, though. Everything is rendering up here, and there's a drop coming right into this main base.
Ooh.
Looking to try and pull this apart. Oh my god, he lost the shuttle. That's crazy. He ends up losing the shuttle right now. Is he going to lose the Reaver to an SCV as well? SCV on the other side of him. Gonna get this kill. Oh my god, going for the SCVs in the mineral line. He gets about 2 or 3 SCVs. He should not have lost that shuttle, though. That's really rough. You're just so spread thin here as Ample, and being able to defend with losing only a few SCVs, the first Reaver, and he kills it. That is insanely good for Ample. This start is fantastic.
I don't think he could have hoped for a better game to start things off against Bisu. This is looking so fantastic. He's powered up to about 7 factories. That's basically the minimal amount you want to go for off 3 bases. You can double down and go for more, but he could also try and take a 4th base with those 7 factories. That's definitely viable and kind of in the meta right now if you do want to keep expanding as Terran. He's got a Vulture raiding party going out onto the map to set up mines. These are great for scouting to see the Protoss movements, and you also want to lay down all the mines before you even think about going in to do damage with the Vultures. You don't want the Vultures to die without spending all of those mines first, so everything kind of lining up for our Terran. It'd be kind of insane if he does find himself in the winner's match. He's unsieging his tanks. It looks like he wants to move out a little bit. It does seem like he's going for an attack. Bisu sees it with an observer. This isn't to take a 4th base. This is to actually push Bisu. Kind of insane. Leg enhancements are not ready on the Zealots or Bisu. He has a trio of shuttles, though, to try and combat this. But as long as Ample moves out carefully and sieges at the right time, this is going to be so hard for Bisu to stop.
It's going to be really hard for Bisu with barely a 4 supply advantage. He really hasn't come fully online, like you said. No Zealot speed. It's just going to slow him down so much. He already has Storm, though. Storm, for this first fight of the game, is kind of incredible. We'll need to utilize that as much as possible to either splash down a big chunk of tanks or try to get rid of as many Vultures as possible so Zealots can overrun. Here we go. Diving in. He decides at the right time now, dropping on top of everything. Here comes the first Storm. Second Storm could go down. No, he storms his own High Templar, loses it immediately. Another Storm drops on this tank, and it looks like Bisu is clearing through everything, cleaving through this army. He does get pushed back for a moment here, but a 40 supply advantage suddenly.
The leg enhancements finish in the nick of time. Pretty good engagement from Bisu. Does concede a few shuttles for free there towards the end, but he's already kind of survived. Now Ample's attack is so much sandbagged compared to what it could have been. Like, there was a chance that he could just steamroll across to this natural 3rd location and absolutely obliterate Bisu if he didn't get a good engagement going there, but luckily managed to buy enough time for the leg enhancements to finish. Ample going to be maybe considering throwing down a 4th base now. He can't really double down on this push. It's a bit risky. He would just risk throwing the game. So I imagine we'll be seeing both players trying to expand soon. This is a little bit crazy from Ample trying to push northward at the moment. We better if he just held the center. Bisu's going to come in here and clear up a few units without really losing anything. Ample is sending constant reinforcements to the front line. Maybe thinking about still doubling down on this attack, but I would much prefer him to kind of consolidate his position and take the fourth. It looks like he is doing that now, but Bisu getting aggressive on the left-hand flank of the map. There's not many tanks here. 1-1 upgrades for Bisu. Just the +1 weapons here for Ample. Sonic Storm landing on one of those tanks. The trio of tanks on the right avoiding a storm, but he does get a 2-for-1 deal on those tanks towards the left-hand side. Not a bad trade here for Bisu, but he is drying up in units despite being ahead in supply. He is sacrificing a lot to make this work, and he hasn't yet thrown down that Nexus at the 3 o'clock.
I mean, Bisu pretty much outmaneuvered Ample in this last couple of engages. Like, he's even gonna get these
Crazy.
2 tanks too. That was a great mind drag. Ample, he left so many tanks in the middle, and he lost 2, you know, heading north, and then he, you know, brought some over to the left, but he still had some kind of lagging behind that were sieged in the middle and moving. So he ended up taking a fight with about half the tanks multiple times. Bisu able to trade at a huge advantage, and now 60 supply over Ample. Ample looks to be falling apart here, but he's still hanging on for now. He just doesn't have a great late game with the way that this build is rounding out. He's got the armories now, but he's so far away from +2. It's going to be totally late here, and I'm not sure he can hold on until then. Great storm in this mineral line. Not able to get one on the ramp there to get rid of any of these vultures and tanks that are defending. See, it is a very difficult location to try and break into, and Bisu's kind of committed to this side. It'll be a little bit difficult for him to rotate and try to hit 6 o'clock, but Ample is on the ropes.
Yeah, Ample did have a lot of meat on the bone, but Bisu easily chewed through it. Now we've also got that 5th base getting set up for Bisu at the 3 o'clock. Ample, though, is mining at that 4th base at the 6 o'clock. 2-1 upgrades now for Bisu. 1-1 finishing for Ample. And Bisu's not slowing down. He really wants to try and force the issue at this 3rd base location. Kind of a disjointed attack with these choke points. So Dragoons kind of funneling on 2 separate angles. Not the hardest attack to defend for Ample, but he's not got that many tanks. So Bisu is still making progress. He's still getting into this expansion. Just a few tanks on the low ground is not great, though. It is very challenging for Bisu to get into optimal firing conditions to punish that. He's actually kind of ignoring the tanks right now and seeing if he can get into the mineral line and punish these SCVs here. Ample gets 1 tank up on the ledge to try and force this back, but he's losing so many SCVs.
Oh, he's really leveraging his supply advantage to just bash through the Terran army with sheer numbers. Ample, you know, should have a extremely good defensive position, but once it becomes just kind of a numbers game, the Protoss has such an easy time just kind of moving through the armies. Ample, even though he took a very good trade there, even though the defensive position was fantastic, he is starting to fall apart, and I'm not sure he can defend this bottom center. Not a lot of Dragoons left over after all those got trapped and killed. And it's hard to rotate from the left-hand side down to this bottom center, but here comes a few more Zealots. If there's a Storm or 2 in here, it's going to be really rough. That's a great mine. Actually killing a lot of these Zealots and holding on for now.
Ample is hanging in there. It's still looking very good for Bisu, though. He's got another Nexus online in the main base in the top left quadrant. On paper, this is pretty good for Bisu, but, you know, Ample has technically stabilized on these 4 bases. He's just recently finished up a science facility as well. Bisu, though, coming in with a storm drop on the 6 o'clock, tries to punish the SCV train, doesn't kill a whole bunch of them, but they're all softened up now. Any future storm drops will prove deadly, since most of those SCVs are going to be a red HP, even taking a lot of damage to the splash tank shot. They're losing a few of those low HP SCVs as they return to the mineral line. Not a bad game from Ample. His biggest mistake was, you know, kind of pushing a little bit too northward there from the center after his first timing attack. If he had consolidated the position, this wouldn't look too terrible for him on paper, but it actually is starting to look better for Ample as the game ticks on. There is a real chance for him soon. +2 is not that long of a way away anymore. As soon as that attack upgrade comes online, he gets himself to a healthier supply count, he could start pushing again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Bisu has thrown away a lot trying to attack into that third base. It's such a difficult one to crack on this map, and he's been kind of stubborn about it. Even though he had a huge advantage, uh, it started to equalize a little bit. 40 supply only ahead now. Bisu trying to come into the same location again. Is he going to be? Is he going to end up breaking his back on this uh, base here at the third? Ample killing off a lot of these zealots, but now he's been bullied off of this ramp. Dragoons are on top of the base. A lot of the SCVs have been pulled, but he may end up losing the CC if Bisu targets. Back at home, Bisu has a lot of money. He's got a lot of bank, and he's just cranking out units, trying to quickly get back up to full maxed out supply. Ample is trying to close in around this army, but the damage has already been done, man. Even if Bisu loses this, he's going to be able to remake, and I'm not sure that Ample can say the same. He's only got 125 supply and no third base.
He has 2-2 upgrades, so does Bisu, but you know, unfortunately, he's taken quite heavy losses now, especially losing that third base is very problematic for Ample. Bisu starting to set up another rally point in the top left as well. Storm drop here at the 6 o'clock. You can see how quickly those SCVs die once they've already been weakened. And Ample in a lot of trouble right now. He's got all the tools that he needs. He's got the upgrades. He's starting to make some vessels so he can EMP Templars. Bisu sitting on 3-2 upgrades, but he hasn't got enough army to probably successfully push Bisu, and the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get for the Terran, especially with that rally point in the top left. It's going to be so hard to break that base if you've got high Templars on the high ground storming down to the low ground. It's so difficult for Terran to make progress quickly, and so far Bisu in the driving seat, rotating his army around to the right hand side of the map. Ample trying to be active on the map with some vulture raiding parties. He's got a reasonable tank count here, but this is going to be an upward hill battle.
Oh my gosh, sieging up like this is asking for the Protoss player to dive on top of you. We've got storms here for sure. There's going to be some excellent connections on those D-Matrix on that front tank, but some great storms there on the back line. Few more storms go down, and the tank count is just absolutely melting. Zealots on top of everything. Bisu is cleaving through this army, smashing down Ample, battering ram right through this front line. A few tanks over here to the top side. Unfortunate. Ample did not have those in that last army. Thought he had everything together, but it looks like he forgot a few forces. Probably wouldn't have made the difference. GG is called. Ample taps out, and Bisu goes to the winner's match. Huge first game here. Bisu setting the tone. He's going to be waiting for either Jaedong or Flash in that winner's
I'm so
match.
happy Bisu did win that, so we get to see him play against one of these other great players of all time. But Ample came close. He flew a little bit dangerously close to the sun, though. Got a bit overly ambitious in the center. His position was so good previously. The build order was fantastic. He got away with the triple expand. Stars were starting to align for him, but Bisu managed to slow things down, got the leg enhancements online, crippled that first attack from Ample, and Ample got a little bit too big for his boots, pushing northward, splitting his tanks, and helping Bisu control the tempo of the game for the rest of the duration. But guys, the next match that will be coming up, Flash versus Jaedong. Run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit, whatever you gotta do, and come and join us for this absolute spectacular StarCraft feast in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
All right, boys, it is time to be watching Jaedong versus Flash in match number 2. If you're someone who doesn't understand the gravity of what's about to happen, if you haven't been watching StarCraft for 20 years, first of all, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the most competitive tournament in the world for the best game that ever existed. We got Jaedong, the most storied and amazing Zerg player. This guy has captured our hearts for, what is it now, 15 years?
Maybe even
quite around
longer,
at the very beginning. Yeah,
It's
maybe even
crazy.
a bit longer. Wasn't really there right at the beginning. You know, he wasn't playing against Boxer and those guys, but
Right.
right as I was growing up, I'm a millennial, 1991. When I was growing up, when I was first getting into StarCraft, this was the man. And here was his ultimate opponent, his rival, Flash, who was absolutely dominant for years and was dominant for years in the ASL as well, at the cost of his health. This guy has been performing at an absolute pinnacle, just smashing faces, the ultimate weapon, god, whatever you want to call him. He is here, and his game face is on 100%. Man, it's so good to see these two guys going head-to-head again.
Oh yeah, quite a few years ago, there was a little pre-game interview where Jaedong called Flash God, and Flash had some tears. They have such mutual respect for one another, and Flash's statistics look absolutely insane. No surprise there. Jaedong's look less impressive, but that's not a true indicator of his current ability. Most of those stats are from when he was not playing very good at all before his peak back in the Kesper era. And now we're going to see some craziness from these two gods of the game. Jaedong versus Flash in the round of 16. Group C match number 2 on Polestar. Let's get it, guys.
Oh my god.
Even the drone
Jaedong
can't contain his excitement.
making a mistake to start this off. No way. Keep your head on straight. There he is, Flash. Can't let those type of early game problems get ahead of you. Not as bad as, you know, hovering over the minerals and landing on the other side. But still a little bit rough. These guys are absolutely precise in the way that they play. They have such tight timings. A tiny little mistake like that can make a huge difference, so I hope it doesn't affect Jaedong too much.
Yeah.
Jaedong is back. There it is.
He certainly is. He's been playing like an absolute tyrant once more. Will he be able to slay the god that is Flash in a best of 1 on Polestar? It's a tall ask. Very good map for TVZ here. And honestly, I couldn't be happier, saying, being alongside you, casting for this many years, and we're here bringing you ASL coverage. Flash versus Jaedong, no less. A real honor and privilege. And thank you so much to everyone currently hanging out in the chat, watching us live or on YouTube in the VOD. So happy to be here today.
Yeah, it's an absolute honor to be casting with you here for sure, and especially live as well, to see it happening right now. CC first, Flash, he's gonna do it to him.
Oh, jeez.
Of course, you have to expect it from Flash. This is the guy who made CC first viable, basically in all matchups. Took him a long time. Took him a long time to dial it in, but he did eventually find ways of making this viable, and it's still a very strong build to this day. CC first, he's going to be getting away with it here. Aside from this drone, which is coming across the map to try and slow things down. Not a hint on the face of Jaedong here. Definitely he was expecting it a little bit. Oh my god, the damage on the drone is insane. That is absolutely huge. He can send back, or I guess he's just going to start making this immediately. Okay, sends out another SCV here. I thought he would send this one back immediately. After putting on that much damage to the drone, I'm not sure you need an extra in order to fight this drone. That's quite a big deal to not get any slowdown to this build from Flash.
Yeah, I mean, SCVs in Flash's hands really do seem OP. The way he's able to bump bellies with that fusion cutter. Not many players can pull off the moving shot with the SCV quite like Flash can. Everything is lining up to make this a better and better game for our God Emperor Terran. Jaedong going to be playing from a slight deficit here. There's not really a way for him to punish this, unfortunately. Like a blind counter like a 3 hatch before pull would have been good, but you don't really want to go 3 hatch before pull without scouting the Terran. What if they're just 8-raxing you or something? So Flash is just ahead right now, and there's no other way to cut it. Jaedong's going to have to play one of the best games of his life to navigate this, and it looks to be either a 1-1-1 build or even possibly a mech build coming out from Flash. It wasn't too long ago that he was favoring going for a CC first into mech, so could be just about anything from him.
I mean, he's still mining fully on gas. It looks like a second factory starts. All right, we're going into mech.
Oh boy.
CC first into mech. I mean, it's funny because we've talked about this a lot, and we've seen it quite a few times. Flash is really one of the only guys who pulls it off effectively. CC first into mech into 2 armory. Is he really going to pull it out here against Jaedong? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if I willed this into existence or not, because I was literally talking about this on stream today. There it is. Oh my God, double armory. Holy dude.
He's a mad lad.
I was saying that I wanted to see Flash go into mech because I wanted to, have a nice long game. A lot of back and forth between these two. Since we're only going to get one game, it better be a good one. Potentially we might get more, but that would be suboptimal. I want to get both of these guys out of the group. This is going to be crazy, guys. Double armory is so weak in the early game, but Flash makes it so strong. And then the late game potential is just incredible. Big surround here on the first vulture. Oh my God, he got it immediately there. The timing on the speed was perfect. He completely surrounds and destroys that. Now he can skip the initial creep colony and just go straight into a third.
Yeah.
Actually, a bit of a good move here from Jaedong, bringing him a little bit closer to parity with Flash.
Yeah. The role of that vulture is basically to deny the third base from going down, right? Like to micro against Zerglings and then make them have to get mutas to clear out the vulture to finally take that third base. But Jaedong actually takes it before pumping the mutas. So he's trying to optimize his own build behind this. He's even throwing down a macro hatchery at the third base. Jaedong's getting serious. He's actually not making mutas for a bit of a time. He's actually kind of mind gaming Flash, because Flash back at home, he's going to be throwing down a bunch of turrets and getting set up for this muteless timing that's not even coming. So Jaedong is going to be catching up slightly in the economic trend of this game. This could be a really exciting macro game now, Saiyan.
Yeah, this is interesting. Flash is he has this style, and I've talked about it quite a bit in a lot of my different casts, is that he likes to put the opponent in a difficult scenario where he's been very greedy and gotten away with a lot. And he puts you in a situation where you're like, okay, I have to punish this. I have to do something. Everybody knows the feeling who's played Brood War. Like, you can't get away with that. There's no way. So you go out and you try to punish it, and he's got the absolutely perfect response, and he just completely shuts you down. And he's like baiting you into trying to punish. And it doesn't seem like Jaedong's going to be falling for any sort of bait here. He's just going to immediately throw down extra hatcheries, and he's gotten Burrow to just completely scout out every move that Flash makes. This is awesome play from Jaedong.
Yeah, it's really reserved, but in a fantastic way. He's basically trying to metagame Flash's strategy. Flash did a bit of a fake move out with these Goliaths to maybe try and force a response out of Jaedong if he did skip Mutalisks for this long. But Jaedong's not flinching. He's just going into his macro. He's getting the third gas online. He's starting to pump out those Mutalisks now. This is a tech mech style, though. This isn't like a 5-factory Goliath build. He's got the double armories. He's going to race ahead into a science facility as well, so we can get +2 weapons faster and science vessels for the Irradiate. And Jaedong spots the third base timing from Flash with the Overlord. It's a little bit of a greedy third as well. Flash being quite ambitious himself after identifying Jaedong slow playing a bit.
A little bit. I mean, this might actually convince Jaedong to dive in. Like what I was talking about earlier about, like, he just gets so greedy and you kind of feel like you have to punish. Jaedong finally decides, you know what? You can't get away with that. I'm going to try and shut down this base. He's killing quite a few of these Goliaths, diving directly onto them and focusing them down one by one. He does kill off the SCV. We'll have to back away here. I wouldn't like to see him fully commit. A 4th base is definitely the right call, and he does drop that. Try to stay ahead at least 1 base over Flash here.
Yeah, he does try and swoop in, snipes one of the lower HP Goliaths, but loses a muta for it. Doesn't want to continue that trend. He needs to keep every muta alive if he can help it. We've got +1 attack upgrades on these air units for Jaedong. 1-1 upgrades for Flash, and he'll be working on that 2-2 as well now. Rotates around to the natural expansion to try hitting some of these SCVs. He's floating the engineering bay to make it very hard to target those. Jaedong, meanwhile, transitioning into Hydra while getting a 4th base online at the 6 o'clock. You kind of do want to transition out of Mutalisks versus the tech mech style. As soon as you identify that the Terran is slowing his roll and teching up into these vessels, into those additional upgrades, you kind of have to switch out of Mutalisks. You don't want to make any more than maybe 2 control groups worth of those air units before you fully transition. And Jaedong is kind of slightly ahead of schedule with this transition as well. He's not made that many Mutalisks and has quite a few Hydras out.
Yeah, and there's no tanks either, so the combo of Hydra and Muta might actually kill a lot of these Goliaths. And you don't have to kill Flash right now necessarily, but reducing the overall bio count and forcing out a bunch of tanks right now, it'll allow Jaedong to really macro up even harder and potentially, have another tech switch here soon. Ooh, this Irradiate does a lot of damage, reducing the number of mutas, reducing their HP. Not sure if he really wants to dive in here now with not that many mutas in the air. Flash might just splatter these Hydras. Looks like he's trying to go in right now. He's going to try and take this fight. A bit of a concave here from Flash. A lot of the Hydras are kind of in the back, but Hydras do trade very well against Goliaths. He's actually killing a lot of these, getting what he needs to do done. Tanks sieging up on the high ground here. A lot of SCVs are going to go down. So many have been pulled. It looks like Flash might be able to hold on, but so many more Hydras are rallying. Oh my god, there's a ton of Hydras coming across the map right now, Xun. The bunker is here. The high ground tank is actually defending quite well. Flash hanging in there for now, but Jaedong is going to continue this attack.
Yeah, this third base is very defendable, but he's kind of cut off the path of reinforcement to this. There's tanks along the periphery of the main base to help defend, but he's trying to bust down the supply depot wall now. There is no tanks currently online at this third base location. Jaedong trying to seize the tempo. He's already killed off a bunch of SCVs. Vessels go down as well. Jaedong is really ramping up the pressure on Flash. Flash is in absolute desperation mode, using the SCVs to body block the Hydras as he leapfrogs some tanks forward to the line of Jaedong's attack. This is looking pretty fantastic from Jaedong. Flash finishing up that 2-1 upgrade timing right as he got his third base busted. So many SCVs have gone down in this game that Jaedong's actually slightly ahead in supply, powering off of 4 bases. He needs to saturate this 4th base in a few moments, but right now he's been non-stop Hydra production. He's running in yet again, trying to punish these tanks slightly out of position. Keeping the tank count low is critical for Jaedong if he wants to keep ramping up the aggression on Flash and making it harder and harder to go back to saturating and mining on this third base.
Dude, he's kept this tank count so damn low. Both players are playing absolutely out of their mind, with Flash keeping his money incredibly low, but he's actually losing out on a ton of mining here, and so many SCVs have fallen. Jaedong pushes in, kills one more tank. He's opening up tiny little holes here and there. It's very hard to pressure on this map.
Ooh.
But there we go, big Muta switch as well. This could actually end everything for Flash. He's got quite a few tanks that have just popped out, and now they're going to be dove upon. Few more Goliaths come out. Is it going to be enough? 11 Mutas to dive in. He should kill so many tanks here and overwhelm with Hydras immediately after. This is such a strong play from Jaedong. Everything's going to be going down here. Not really targeting the tanks just yet, but he's going after each and every single one of these Goliaths, and then he'll open up the air to smash through all of these tanks. Not too many Hydras behind this, but he's getting so many kills on this artillery. One after another, killing off so many of these. Dude, Jaedong is doing it right now. He's smashing through, and Flash is just struggling to keep the lid on here as he loses tank after tank. Another one going to go down on the exit.
Oh, and he's been pumping drones behind this to saturate this fourth base. Another macro hatchery on the way for Jaedong. He's been in the driver's seat pretty much this entire game. Such a good heads-up play to switch into those Mutalisks after Flash predominantly had only tanks to work with, and this is a hard style to play against. As you know, the theory of playing against Mecha Zerg, but you don't get to practice it very often. Jaedong doing a fantastic job now going into the main base with the Mutalist, picks off one of those tanks, rotates back round to the third base now, gets another tank it looks like, does do a preemptive repair on that to make the Mutas sustain more damage before being able to exit. This is a really phenomenal game from Jaedong. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe he's playing this well against Flash.
Yeah, and this is going to get even harder for Flash. The defense earlier was difficult. He barely managed to hang on. Now Jaedong has another base online, extra hatcheries, and so much production behind this. He's going to dive in with the Mutas, targeting down onto the tanks. There's only one more on the high ground here to try and save him. Dives directly into the natural. That's that killer instinct from Jaedong. Diving in here towards this natural, putting the pressure on, forcing Flash to maneuver. Another Mutalist will go down there on the high ground. Looks like all the Mutas have been killed, but the tanks are just incrementing out way too slowly, and the Goliaths are being picked off one by one. Flash is falling apart. Just the one tank over there, he takes him down. Flash has been defeated in game number 2. Guys, the winner's match is going to be Bisu versus Jaedong.
Wow. Oh my god. Jaedong just shushing the crowd now with that title card. The Godslayer Tyrant himself. Oh my days. Can you imagine how Jaedong feels after that? That's got to be one of the most biggest confident boosters you can have. Flash does not look too happy with that game. He got away with the 14cc. The game plan was still really good from Flash, and defensively he looked pretty good. Like, you know, he was utilizing his SEVs well. He was basically doing everything he should be doing. Jaedong just somehow managed to outmaneuver him at every junction and had a fantastic response. Most Zergs would struggle against the CC first mech play. Not only do you have hardly any practice against that style because pretty much no one plays mech, but against a CC first mech, it's so tough to make up the difference. Jaedong, though, skips over making Mutalisks entirely, gets a quick third after surrounding the Vulture, gets a bunch of macro hatcheries, powers up into a fast Hydra transition after pressuring a little bit with the Mutalisks, and then doing a fantastic Muta switch as well. Saying that was crazy.
That was a perfection, man. Both players are absolutely insane. Guys, we're going to go to a short commercial break. 6 minutes and 30 seconds until Jaedong versus Bisu. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. Jaedong versus Bisu in our winners match. These guys have had very little competitive play in premier tournaments against each other. Jaedong, he's talked about in some interviews about wanting to play against Bisu more in the future and about how much respect he has for him as a PvZ genius, a guy who's really revolutionized that matchup. But as far as I can tell, in the ASL era, the only time they've gone up against each other in ASL is season 18, the one season that it was the SSL. So they haven't had a lot of chances to go head to head. Looking forward to see where they're at right now. Bisu, incredible PvZ, maybe the best in the world, but Jaedong looking absolutely unstoppable after that bashing of Flash in game number 1.
Yeah, it looks like Jaedong was like blinking his eyes there. I wonder how much sleep these guys are getting with how insane their practice schedules must be preparing for this tournament. We're going to be starting off with Jaedong of all maps as well, saying this could be a very spicy series historically. Jaedong doing slightly better than Bisu in this rivalry, but let's find out what's going to happen, guys. The round of 16, Group C, winner set here in the ASL 21. It's Jaedong.
Jaedong spawning on the left-hand side of Jaedong. His opponent, Bisu, over here on the right. Jaedong got to be brimming with confidence here.
Oh, yeah.
After that win in match 2. Not only taking down the ultimate weapon, the greatest gamer of all time, but after Flash got the best opener you could possibly imagine, CC first into mech, just overwhelming him there as he was taking his third. So well played, man. So impressive. Jaedong,
seriously sick,
looking like $1 million. Bisu, he was very nervous going into this group, like the group selection stage. If you guys have seen that, or that they had a bit of a recap at the beginning, it was absolutely looking like a bad day for Bisu. Like, he was not having it, man. Head in hands, realizing that he was going to be going up against Jaedong and Flash in his same group. But he has performed pretty well, and I'm looking forward to a great game here. Jaedong is special, man.
Oh, yeah.
And should give us a really good game.
Yeah, one of the things that's so different about it is you can skip over making the forge and cannons for so long, and you have this back expansion to utilize as well. Quick access to a third, as well as it being a gas expansion. The build order range is insane. You can even technically go Reverser very comfortably on this map. Let's see what these two gamers want to go for. Jaedong is actually getting into a pool and gas on one base right now, trying to deny this probe from chewing through this medic, but Bisu just barely out of the spinning range. Lovely to see such a diverse crowd as well. Plenty of gamers from around the world here today to watch this, both live and online and offline. And yeah, I think there was even the guy that was like 67, so that's kind of impressive to see such a huge range of fans here in support of such a fantastic occasion, with these three heads of their respective races duking it out. So
we've seen this before. We've seen this in Pro League. We haven't really seen it in ASL yet. This is not a Ling all-in. We did see a Ling all-in that ended up taking down Best earlier. Queen
with the proxy hatch
was able to make that happen with the proxy hatch, yes. But we have seen this in Pro League. Jaedong is pretending that he has another base. Oh, but he's going for Hydra. Okay, that's crazy. Yeah, we saw this. We saw this with Soma hiding the fact that he hasn't built a base. Yeah, hiding a base in the back. This looks like to Bisu that he's just sitting here on two bases. Oh my God, can he slip by? That's so close. But Soma went for Mutilus and tried to Mutilus call in against Shuttle, whereas Jaedong is going for something absolutely crazy. He's going for like a Hydra or Lurker bust.
This is Lurkers.
Not really sure which one, but I mean, I guess you have to go Lurkers to try and get through the Zealots in the ramp.
Do you know what's crazy? This
how many Lurk?
This
Yeah,
also
go
could
ahead.
be a 3-centimeter drop Lurker, where he's gonna slow drop into the main base with the Overlord as well. Yeah, but either way, he's gonna be going Lurkers. It's just a matter of, is it a Lurker bust at the front, or is he actually gonna slow drop Lurkers into the base of Bisu? Both are very possible from this point. This is a ZVT build, by the way. One base Lurker. This is way better against Terran.
And not a very good one.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bisu's probably not even thinking about this right now. This is going to catch him so off guard. Can Jaedong execute this to perfection or not?
I mean, this is a one-time use build. You're not gonna pull this off again. If you pull it off here as Jaedong, you never get to use this build again in tournament play, because everyone's gonna expect it, and it's very easy to counter. If he builds a couple of cannons in his base, you can shut this down easily. But the fact is, there's only gonna be one cannon on the ramp, and if he just busts this ramp, he's just gonna go mass ling afterwards. He's not gonna be doing the Overlord drop. He's gonna use the Zealots to break the ramp, and then he's gonna use the Lings to dive on top of the cannon and rip through everything. Yeah, if you just build a bunch of cannons here at the top of the ramp, it's unbreakable. You can't get up here. But Bisu doesn't know that it's coming, and so since he doesn't know it's coming, Jaedong is gonna get a massive advantage here. We'll see if he can actually break the ramp, actually get through. Bisu sees it now, but there's not a whole lot he can do.
Yeah, there's only one cannon here. Ling's starting to trickle through. Get on top of that cannon. If he gets that cannon, he's in a world of hurt. The cannon goes down. Oh my gosh, Bisu is in so much danger currently. He has got a second cannon warping in, but I doubt that's going to finish. He's got a cannon in the main base. He's just going to tap out. GG. Jaedong is through to the round of 8 in
No.
style.
Best of 3.
Oh, sorry,
Best of 3.
my bad.
Best of 3.
I got ahead of
yourself.
Guys.
Got ahead of yourself.
I got so ahead of myself. I'm so excited. I can't even think straight.
Oh my gosh. What a build, man. Holy crap. Jaedong putting it all on the line. Like, the confidence from this guy is insane. Picking Flash, beating him at his own game, you know, letting him get into that insane macro position, and then beating him, which is an incredible macro of his own. And now pulling out this super cheeky tournament build versus Bisu in game number 1. This is incredible, man. I've never seen this Jaedong before. This is another level, guys. The Tyrant is back, but he's like lording over the old Tyrant, the Tyrant of old.
This is insane. I'm so excited I can hardly contain myself saying I'm getting nerd chills. My adrenaline is pumping. I can't wait until the game is starting. I hope they're just going to go right on into it. Please don't take any bathroom breaks. Let's just have non-stop crazy action. Looks like we are now ready for game 2 in the round of 16 Group C winner set. Jaedong versus Bisu on Knockout.
Jaedong, bottom left. Perfect split this time. Bisu, bottom right. There's a tough loss there. Bisu, completely blindsided by that build. I don't think anyone would be expecting that, man. That is way out there, but perfectly hidden. Perfect deception game played by Jaedong in that last one. Hid his build to the very end and executed perfectly. Definitely you have to keep it in the back of your mind that a one-base build is possible. You can't just assume that the back natural has been taken, but Bisu, he paid the price there. And now what are we going to see from Jaedong? Just a straight-up macro build, or does he have something else tricky in his mind?
Yeah, I'm thinking Hydra Bust, something either 973 or pre-storm timing. That's what I'm feeling right now. the balls on Jaedong, like that was such a suboptimal build to go for, but he knows it's Jaedong. He knows there's probably not going to be that many cannons behind it, and if it is going to be a one base build, it's more likely to be a Mutalisk all in than something like a one hatch lurker. That's a ZVT build. That's not something Bisu would have prepared for. He was completely blindsided by that. Fantastic from Jaedong. And let's see how this game develops, because I have a feeling this one will obviously take a lot longer than that last game, but I do imagine Jaedong's going to be playing aggressive. I really do think this could be some kind of 973. He's got the drone here to protect himself from a possible cannon rush from Bisu. He has the Forge Fast Expand. He is lined up to do a cannon rush. Will this drone be successful in stopping anything like that from coming online? This also could be a fake out from Bisu just to keep this drone busy.
Yeah, there's a second probe on the map, and well, it's spotting this Overlord right now, or the Overlord's spotting it. Either way, kind of funny to see that rotating around. I guess it's, yeah, heading towards the third. See if we can get a block on that. Maybe throw down a pylon here, try to slow things down a little bit. Looks like he will likely throw down that pylon. Nexus, no, he can't do that now. Nexus, you got to throw down the cannon here. Gonna fight the drone a little bit. Nice move from Bisu. Can swap out for the other probe. Nope. Just gonna have to turn around and back up. Jaedong will have his third base on the way here. Yeah. And we will get into a bit of a normal gate. Whoa! And a gateway as well. Really min-maxing his Bisu.
Yeah, he's really pushing the limits. Nexus gateway cannon. You can get away with it as long as you're on top of your scouting, and if he was making a round of links, you need to body block a little bit with the probe and pull some probes off the line to make sure the cannon gets up. But this cannon's going to be absolutely fine. Jaedong is not going to be getting aggressive at all. He's just going to probably make a single pair of Zerglings to start things off, start chasing around this probe, and he is tucking into lair. So actually, this isn't going to be a 973 here from Jaedong. He could actually cancel the lair and throw down the den now and still do it, but I don't think that's on the agenda. This also could still be a pre-storm timing, trying to hit just before that storm finishes. We've seen the cross-tech style from Soma be so successful, where you basically do the normal 3-hatch lair into Spire, but also get a fast den. Does pick off that probe scout. Now Bisu in the dark until either a Zealot or a Corsair can get across the map to identify the plan of action from the Donger.
Pre-storm timing. I wonder if Jaedong prepared to do a build like that. It's just been very popular and powerful lately.
Yeah.
We've also seen like 973 with Hero pulling it out so many times and actually being effective. I don't know. I feel like Jaedong, in the recent games that he's shown, has a higher propensity for a more long-term gameplay, like getting into a 6-hatch Hydra, controlling the map, and then getting into a 4th base.
Right.
I don't know. We'll have to see. But Bisu is strong against either of those styles. He's really good at holding on against Hydra Bust, and he's fantastic with his 2 and 3 base pushes as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically the creator of the modern PvZ meta. Obviously, his style was a little bit different than what we see now, but this whole Forge Fast Expand into Corsair thing, Bisu created that once upon a time. I'm sure pretty much everyone in the chat knows that, but just in case there's some unfamiliar faces in there that don't know the complete history of StarCraft, Bisu has effectively created this style once upon a time, so he knows it inside and out. Not anyone on the planet understands PvZ quite to the same level as Bisu does. This is going to be a pretty epic match as a result. Jaedong is throwing down plenty of macro hatcheries, kind of going into the normal orthodox style after that 3-base lair. Pretty quick 3rd gas. I don't see a Hydra Den down right now, so this could actually be a pretty standard macro game from our Zerg.
He's just gonna check out everything. Does need to get out of here before the Scourge start to pop out. Has some of the best Corsair control. Not only does he have great understanding, but incredible Corsair control. Ooh, a cancel on the Hydra Den there. So doesn't want to go for pre-storm timing, but wants Bisu to think it's possible. Wants to keep that possibility alive in the back of Bisu's head as a, a question mark there. Maybe he does want to go for something like that, but not the case. Jaedong going to be going for more of a macro play and going to be defending a little bit with Mutalisk here while he cranks out as many drones as he can. We saw earlier Bisu did drop a third cannon, but canceled once he had the full scout. So, Bisu is playing a little bit safe. He's making sure that he doesn't get busted early, and Jaedong may be able to take advantage of that by giving him these false signals.
Well, the den was pretty late, so maybe Bisu won't be that convinced by the cancellation. He's got, an early 5 stack of mutas here. That's pretty standard as well. This is mainly just a Zealot cleanup force, and you can also use it to one-shot probes, maybe. The question is, Jaedong's taken a third gas. Now, does he want to double down and go for an Ogre's gamer move with just a mass amount of Scourge and mutas, or is this to bank up for lurkers and play a more orthodox style? He does potentially get a connection on the Corsair and kills one. Already a big move from Jaedong, being so aggressive with these 5 mutas. It has some more Scourge showing up to the party as well. Cannon not quite finished in the natural, so there's a chance to pick off a few of these probes. A DT comes out from Bisu. That's also for scouting purposes, especially after he just lost a Corsair. You have to be very careful about when you move out with those air units of Bisu. He might be sitting back and chilling with those for a bit. He has a DT to use to scout Jaedong with if he can't go too deep with those Corsairs, though.
This is some filthy good micro from Jaedong, by the way. The Scourge micro is insane. Oh my gosh. Not quite able to get the connections there, but yeah, the Scourge micro, the Mutalisk micro, the way that he moves, it's so scary.
Yeah.
To Bisu, he really has to be careful with every single little engagement that he takes. You saw there the first Corsair went down, and then Jaedong was being so threatening with the Mutalisk. He was basically begging Bisu to call his bluff, that he actually had some more Scourge underneath that stack. He didn't, but Bisu was too scared to try and hunt those down, and more Scourge were able to arrive, bully stuff back. Probes have been killed now, and Jaedong is looking pretty closed up tight here back at home as well. Really nowhere for this DT to go. Quite a few Scourge go down. All right, does get one connection, one kill there on one of these Corsairs. But quite a few Scourge have been wiped from the map. Bisu out here looking for any damage that he can do. He may get an Overlord, but he's just not finding anything with this DT. Jaedong is so well sealed up.
He seems a little bit scared of Jaedong, honestly. Like, there wasn't that many Scourge out, but he doesn't know that for sure. Almost catching that DT in the center even before the Overlord speed is done. Bisu looks a little bit cautious with how he's engaging Jaedong right now, who is taking his 4th base presently. Has a lot of gas banked up, so he can make either a massive round of lurkers or make some more Scourge. I think it's going to be more the former, though. We have +1 Flyer Carapace for Jaedong, neutralizing the +1 air upgrades for those Corsairs Neutron Flare. So right now, Jaedong has all the tools that he needs. He's zoning out the Corsairs from being able to hunt down Overlords. He's also actively seeking them out. Meanwhile, a bit of a counterattack here from Bisu, trying to get on top of this hatchery timing from Jaedong with a decent squad of Zealots. There's just pure Hydra at the moment for Jaedong. No lurkers in sight. Does force a cancellation on that hatchery. Got a 10-minute robo here from Bisu to get some observers out. He knows there's going to be a lot of lurkers eventually. Needs to start pooling tons of Dragoons. Needs about 2 control groups of Dragoons in his standing army to start skirmishing with the Zerg.
Overlord was killed in top right, and so Jaedong is on to Bisu now. Is he going to be able to catch these? Ooh. Oh my gosh. A couple of Corsairs go down. Mutas are going to be en route to try and get the moving shot here. He gets another Corsair. Oh man. Bisu losing so many Corsairs. He is well known for being able to keep his Corsairs alive throughout the game. Great dodge there. Oh my god, he's going to get 2 High Templar.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That was some incredible movement from Jaedong. killing 2 high tempo there with just the remnants of that 5 muta group. And he gets all the Corsairs, or nearly all the Corsairs. This is next level, dude. He's getting so many advantages. Look at the supply already ahead of where Bisu's at. Bisu gonna have to sit back on this high ground, try to defend. See if he can't get this 3rd base online and stretch this game out a little bit longer, because I don't think he's gonna be able to take it with a quick push here.
This is a phenomenal game from Jaedong, man. Everything kind of lining up for him. He's got such a large force. He's actually equal on supply with Bisu, which is insane. Looks like he is going to be able to get this 4th base online undeterred. We're still in Battle Zerg mode. Going to be staying on Lair Tech, not trying to rush into Hive. We got 1-1 upgrades for Bisu presently on the ground. +1 ranged weapons for Jaedong. Massive Muta stack now, moving in, trying to see if he can hunt down some more of those High Templars. He's at least baiting out storms, taking away a lot of utility and splash damage away from Bisu's army. This will make it so hard for Bisu to get aggressive, and might even open up options for Jaedong to do his own aggression as he swoops in and snipes another 2 High Templars. Just 1 High Templar remaining in that front line. Jaedong smells blood in the water, starting to surge in now with some Hydras, though Bisu has the high ground advantage. He might have a chance of fighting his back. He still has 1 Storm available to him. Okay, not quite the energy to Storm, though. Jaedong flanking from behind with another pack of Hydras as well. This is a pretty good fight from Jaedong. He wants to try and see if he can cripple this 3rd base of Bisu while he doesn't have any Storm available. Bisu's holding the line, kind of, but he's starting to get overwhelmed. There is another High Templar on screen, but it doesn't quite have enough energy to Storm. Just 1 more Storm was available for Bisu. Jaedong successful in breaching the cannons here. Picks off the High Templar before it can generate enough energy to Storm. There's even an Observer going down there. Bisu is absolutely overwhelmed. He might be able to just barely defend, but Jaedong is still trading out fantastically.
All the Dragoons are gone. All the firepower from this army of the Protoss has been eliminated. There's not enough Storm. There's not enough cannons. Ling's getting in here as well. Jaedong absolutely on fire, pulling far ahead in supply. Catches one of the High Templar on the retreat as well. 1 DT in here, trying to save the day, but the Nexus is getting lower and lower. This cannon will not finish, and Bisu is running out of steam. He's only got a few mineral patches left here in the main, a little bit of time left before he starts to mine out there. He does manage to get control back over this high ground, but he's got so few Templars, so few Dragoons, and Jaedong is rallying in for the win. Bisu is just about out of this, man. He is so close to death. He needs an absolute miracle to stay alive from this point on.
Yeah, this is so rough for Bisu. Jaedong's not going to slow down as well. He's going to take a 5th base behind this. Another massive round of Mutalisks have been made. There's not enough anti-air for Bisu. No Dark Archon, no tools available to stop him rampaging and eviscerating the few High Templars that he can muster. Bisu is just moments away from potentially losing this game. 2 armor, 1 weapons versus Jaedong's +2 attack. Here come the Mutalisks now swooping into the rally point, picking off one of those High Templars, rotates around to the probe line in the mineral only. Bisu is in absolute shambles right now, struggling to hold the line. Even if Jaedong doesn't attack right now, he's doing so much direct and indirect damage to Bisu just by existing with these Mutalisks, picking off High Templars, reducing the probe count. Bisu's going to be on 2 bases of mining for the next few minutes, and pretty soon 1 base of mining if he can't get his force in a large enough state where he can start pushing out on the map against the Tyrant.
There's 1 High Templar here, and you know he's about to dive it. Jaedong just looking for anything more he can get with these mutas before diving in and finishing the fight here with the Hydras coming from the south this time, it looks like. Bisu is in such a tough spot. He has to cast a Storm on the mutas to keep his probes alive, but that's 1 less Storm for this upcoming fight. Another Storm there on the mineral patches. It gets quite a bit of damage, but there's going to be a ton of probes going down in this natural now. Jaedong not taking any risks. He's just getting himself more and more ahead as Bisu flounders here on 3 base.
Yeah, I think Jaedong just killed a Dark Templar up here in the top left as well. No slowdown on this 5th base. He is in Battle Zerg mode, so he does need to continue to seize the tempo and slow Bisu's role in this game, but he's done that perfectly. He hasn't killed the 3rd base, but he's done just about everything else to full fruition. Pouncing on these High Templars from behind now. Preemptive storms do blanket the Mutalisks to take them out, but using quite a few storms to achieve that. So many Hydras flooding into this high ground position at the natural 3rd of Bisu. Now he does have a couple of storms left in reserve to fight this. Pretty good blankets on top of those Hydras, but is it enough to keep the Tyrant at bay? It seems like he's just barely cleaning up this attack from Jaedong, but is trading off pretty much all of his army. Bisu, though, trying to seize the initiative, does a counterattack now at the natural 3rd of Jaedong. There's not that many Hydras here, so he could start to overwhelm, kill some of those drones off. Meanwhile, Jaedong not slowing down, trying to run it down on these cannons at this 3rd base location of Bisu, picking off High Templars at the rally point. He does defend at his own 4th base location and starts to send reinforcing Hydras to the front lines. Absolute relentless pressure from Jaedong, trying to overwhelm Bisu.
Dude, this is so close. Jaedong almost breaking through. If he'd done a little bit more with the Mutalisks, he definitely would have broken this, but now that he's surrounding these Dragoons, clearing up a lot of them, taking away, again, the backbone of suppressing fire of all these Dragoons, the phase disruptor shots, adding on that DPS. While the Zealots tank in the front line. There's no front line left, though. There's no artillery left, and there's no money left here for Bisu either. The 3rd base is going to be all that he has left in a moment. It's incumbent upon him to try and take a 4th base, but he's already stretched to the absolute limit just trying to hold this 3rd. He absolutely needs to move towards the center right, try to take that base or the bottom center. He's got to make a choice here soon, though. Trying to take a little bit of map control as he can, diving forward, almost gets another High Templar. Bisu keeps it alive. Dude, this would be an incredible comeback.
Yeah.
If Bisu manages to win this game. It would be just so epic, but I think Jaedong is slowly closing in on him.
Yeah, Jaedong's not currently making Mutalisks anymore, but he is trying to bait out storms with a few skirmish groups of Hydras, trying to drain the reserves of Bisu, and now setting up a pretty big concave in the center to hit from 2 different angles. Not the greatest of storm dodging there, but there's not much storm left for Bisu. Just one final storm going down before morphing into an Archon, but he is doing a pretty good job of dealing with the Hydra count. But look at the relentless macro of Jaedong, just constant streams of units to the front lines. As long as he can prevent Bisu from taking a 4th base, he's got this game in the bag. Bisu knows it. He's trying to fight back strong in the center, keep Jaedong from ever getting back to a critical mass of Hydras in this game so he can successfully take that expansion. But there's drones mining at the 5th base of Jaedong. He's got so much mineral income right now. He can afford to be a little bit wasteful with these trades. He's stretching Bisu to the absolute limit. Bisu trying to punch back strong in this game with just a special forces amount of units. A couple of High Templars showing up to try and keep the Hydras in check. Good storm dodging though from Jaedong on that southern flank. This is an absolute banger of a game.
More and more Hydras pouring out here from all different directions. The surround is complete. Jaedong makes it through into the round of 8. What an incredible performance. No mistakes, no losses here for Jaedong.
Wow, I might have got ahead of myself in that previous call after game 1, but maybe I was just a fortune teller, because this guy certainly is through to the next round. So impressed by his play. Oh my god. Jaedong could be the guy to win this entire ASL. The confidence, the killer instinct. One of the things that sets this guy apart from these other gamers is he just doesn't hesitate. Players have talked about his ability to just seize the day as soon as the moment comes. He doesn't take like 2 or 3 seconds to calculate the odds of winning a battle. He just goes for it. That's what makes him so deadly. He's on a different level to some of these other guys. He's an absolute psychopathic serial killer of a tyrant. And I think a lot of people are going to be shaking in their boots if they have to face off against him in that next round.
Oh my gosh. I mean, this control was so incredible, man. Like Bisu, so well known for keeping his Corsairs alive. He's used to having this big group of Corsairs flying around, killing overlords the entirety of the game, preventing what happened in this match as well. You know, Mutas flying in and just sniping down a ton of High Templars, but he lost all of them, nearly all of them. And then he lost 2 High Templars. After this is really a great choice from the producers here at the ASL. Okay, well, we missed that. We missed the really important part where he sniped 2 High Templars with that small group of mutas as well. But I mean, that was such a huge, crucial moment.
Yeah.
From Jaedong, overwhelming, like outplaying the Corsairs of Bisu, and then even getting more value out of those first few mutas by killing off the extra Templar as well.
Yeah, and Jaedong just didn't let go of the gas pedal once he had tempo. Just non-stop aggression. He had a very good win condition in mind. He delayed saturating that 5th base for a long, long time, just trickling a few drones up there every now and then. Pretty much non-stop unit production from start to finish. Manages to overwhelm one of the greatest PvZ players of all time. And he's going to be feeling on top of the world. He's not only the God Slayer now, but he's through to the round of 8 and looking more fantastic than ever here in the ASL. So often in previous ASL seasons, we always think Jaedong, you know, he's looking great, and then he kind of chokes as he goes deeper into the tournament. Not this time around. He looks so laser focused, so scary. I'm very close to convinced that he's going to take the whole thing, saying this is a different Jaedong we're seeing today. He's playing absolute peak level StarCraft. So impressed.
One step closer, man, to a Jaedong Flash Finals. This is what I want to see. And we just need to see Flash get out of this group second. Still a long way to go for him, though. He's got to take on Ample coming up next, guys, that TVT. Then he'll have to face off against Bisu if he wants to make it out. We could also see an upset. Maybe Ample, you know, pulls out the impossible and beats Flash as well. That would be kind of incredible, and it might be a bit of a kick in the butt for Flash. Maybe he will end up coming back for another season if that were to happen.
I just don't see it happening. Flash is not only a god in general, but especially in TVT, he's a monster. Saying, oh my god, the games look so one-sided when Flash is playing in that mirror matchup. I kind of feel bad for Ample. I feel like Flash is going to take out some of the aggression and how pumped up he was after that slightly disappointing game against Jaedong. He played so well against Jaedong as well. It wasn't even like he made any mistakes. He played a great game, had a great strategy in mind. Just Jaedong managed to dismantle him with some great forward thinking, delaying the mutalisks and having a faster Hydra switch because he got a links around on the Vulture and got a very quick 3rd base with a very quick additional macro hatchery. Everything was just so flawless from Jaedong. Great execution from him. Can't take away anything from Flash. He actually did play seriously sick himself. Just Jaedong on a different level here today. Flash going to be fighting back strong though. I imagine he's going to absolutely skin Ample alive and fashion a new set of clothes and boots out of him, if you want my honest opinion.
I think there's a very good chance that something like that could happen. We're going to be watching that here shortly, guys. But for now, we're just going to bask in the glory that is Jaedong as he gives his final thoughts here on stage. Incredible performance, incredible player, incredible story.
Yeah.
The history of this guy. He's been underperforming for a long time in ASL, but he appears to be back and better than ever. And I think a lot of players, I'm already looking forward to the Jin video of the translation of this. and you know what these players are actually saying on stream as they're watching. You know, Soma, Solky, all these guys who have such a great grasp on the matchup, watching Jaedong and just wondering how it's even possible how well he's playing today.
It's really nuts. This guy is approaching 40 and he's still playing like he's in his 20s. I mean, I don't understand it. I can't even imagine how someone plays at that level of StarCraft at his age. It's really impressive, man. Like, back in the day, we didn't think players could handle playing this game into their 30s. We thought it was a 20-year-old man's game, and we were considering people like 4U to be like an old man in their mid-20s. You know, like, we just didn't expect people to be able to keep up with the insane pace of StarCraft. But turns out experience and knowledge and all this other stuff actually accounts for a lot in StarCraft. As long as your hands can still execute what your brain is thinking, doesn't matter how old you are. And for that reason, we could be seeing StarCraft really standing the test of time. It already has. Could be going on for many more years to come as well.
Yeah, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break here. Just a few short minutes for back in the action. Flash going to be fighting for his life in that losers match. What do you say the odds are that Apple makes it through that winners match, man?
I think 50
give
to
me a
1 is
number here.
generous. I think it's closer to
Yeah,
100 to 1.
Yeah, just even from the very beginning, giving him odds, something like 100 to 1, just
Well,
make it through this group, I think is generous. We're generous, but um, now that he's in the losers match, it's so tough, man. It's
yeah,
just so
yeah.
crazy tough.
Well, I think his only chance of winning the group is if he was able to beat Bisu. Then I think there's a stronger hope for Ample, because I think he would lose the winners match, but he has another shot in the final match. But after losing that game against Bisu, his odds of getting out of the group dropped exponentially. And the fact that he's against Flash, I mean, that's the worst case scenario for Ample. This is quite literally what Flash does best, and I don't see him having a snowball's chance in hell of beating Flash in a best of 3, maybe a best of 1, but we're going to find out soon which of those two will be continuing on to go through to that final match to face off against Bisu. Probably going to be Flash, and honestly, I'm happy with this result, because now we get to see pretty much all 3 of these guys play against one another, and that's the dream, Sam.
That is the dream. Like this is kind of a perfect series of events, right?
Yeah.
Um, Flash makes it through. Flash makes it to the Bisu match. We get to see Bisu versus Flash. We get to see Jaedong versus Bisu and Jaedong versus Flash.
Yeah.
Kind of awesome. Honestly, if either Bisu or Flash make it out, I'll be pretty happy. I do want to see Flash make it through. No hate to Bisu.
Right.
But I'm so sold on Flash versus Jaedong in the finals. I think it would be probably the most viewed ASL thing of all time, most viewed StarCraft thing of all time. Um, just a note, if that does happen in the next round, in the round of 8, Flash and Jaedong cannot be in the same group
Right.
because they were in this group together, and there's a 1 in 3 chance that they'll be on the same side of the bracket. So, 2 out of 3, they'll be on opposite sides, and they would only be able to meet in the finals, which would be the best possible outcome.
And that's what, well, at least that's what Saiyan and I are hoping for. I'm not sure about you guys back at home. I'm sure the vast majority of you don't usually like speaking for other people, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that most of you guys want that to happen. There's obviously going to be a few Bisu fans there as well that want him to get through, but I imagine more than 50% of you definitely would love to see both Jaedong and Flash meeting in the finals. Oh my god, that would be such an event. But we're going to be going to that commercial break, guys. Run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit, beer, popcorn, whatever you've got to do, and join us for that losers match here in the Group C round of 16. Ample versus Flash. Don't go anywhere.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Ample versus Flash in the losers match. Best of 3 TVT. A prelude to tomorrow, guys. Group
Oh, yeah.
D. I know you guys are excited. All 4 players are going to be tearing just back to back to back. Possible 11 games of TVT. I know. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like we're going to be staying up late. Or I'm going to be staying up late anyway. You're going to be in the morning. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of TVT. We've got our drinks topped up. We're ready to go. Probably going to have to take a break after that.
For sure.
Make sure that we don't lose our voices for the next week. Round of 8 will be coming around shortly. Here we go. Let's get it.
All right, guys. The losers match here in Group C. Ample versus Flash on Jaedong. Let's get it.
Ample. Center right. Flash. Over here on the left-hand side. Jaedong. Have you seen a lot of TVT here so far, Xun?
Not a lot. Not a lot. No.
Surprised to see these guys not veto Jaedong. I wonder what kind of match we're in for here on this most interesting of maps. It kind of reminds me of some maps of old, like Heartbreak Ridge, where the ridge lines are very, very important. Holding control of those in a lot of these matchups, especially TVT, becomes incredibly important. But
yeah,
there's a lot of space for things like drop as well. Hard to cover your whole base on this map from potential drops, and hard to also come back to your base to defend when drop play does occur.
Yeah, so drops are going to be good here. Wraiths are even very viable. It's very tempting, you might think, to go for a CC first, but it's also very risky against something like an 8-rack, so I don't think we're going to see a CC first, although it's Flash, so who knows. I think it's more likely to be a bunker expand if they do want to, but just a racks expand at least if they do want to go for something like that. We'll see, though. Flash has not thrown down a barracks. Oh, jeez. I think it's gonna be a CC first here from Flash. This is exactly what the old Flash would do. Just non-stop CC first. This guy can't keep getting away with it.
Does seem like he might get away with it, Xun. Just maybe. Yeah, I mean, he's the guy. He is that guy, the one who made this build viable, showed that it was difficult to punish, and well, Apple's not going to get that slow of a CC either, right? This CC is going to come up pretty quickly after Flash got his own. Just going for a gasless fast expand, better than, you know, if he had gone for an 11 or a 12 gas behind this. He would have been in a lot of trouble.
Well, he is being a little bit greedy. He's not even making a marine yet. He's just floated this barracks right away. I wonder if he's going to land it. I think he's landing it to make a marine now out on the map a bit belatedly. This is the style that Ample is doing is what I expected players to do if they did want to get a fast CC. I didn't think either of them would have the balls to go for a CC first, and I shouldn't have doubted Flash. Like, Flash does not care. He will go CC first pretty much on any map, in any position, any time. Like, that's just the kind of guy he is. So it is going to be a bit of greed here from Flash, and Ample doesn't really have a response to this. It's more or less just going to be playing from behind. But it's only going to be a slight economic edge for Flash. It's not like this is an auto win or anything.
That was some pretty good movement by Ample. Avoiding the easy attacks from the SCV and putting a lot of damage on that first scout. A little bit risky to try and come up this ramp, but does manage to pull away before losing the Marine. Going to turn around and head on back home. But Flash has a pretty decent advantage here getting this started. Going to be having his own factories coming online here shortly. Has the faster CC, more SCVs. He's going to be feeling very good right now. Ooh, SCV gets very low. Yeah, second factory, 2 factory on either side for now. We'll see if either player wants to get into raids here early. They've been so impactful in TVT lately.
Yeah, this is nice for Ample that he's denied the scouting from Flash as well. There was a chance that Flash's SCV could have gotten into the main base with Ample making the first Marine on the outside. Flash now going across the map with 2 Marines. He'll have a Vulture that will join with them eventually, and he can also start to put some DPS onto this floating barracks if he wants to, but he also could pressure the front. We've got a starport coming out from Ample in the back pocket expansion, so at least he's going to get a little bit air-centric with his style in this game. Right now, both players also having 2 factories.
All right, Vulture has already arrived for Flash. Vulture pops out for Ample as well, but
Oh, missed shots.
Looking a little bit better. No, a lot of missed shots. A lot of missed shots. Oh my god, and he loses the first Vulture. That was incredibly good for Ample. 50-50 chance of miss shot. It seemed like he missed, 4 or 5 shots in a row, though. Insanely bad luck on Flash's side. Losing that first Vulture is huge.
Yeah, and he doubled down. Like, he didn't want to pull back from that. He wanted to keep fighting and hope for the best, and bit of lady luck for Ample, maybe making some deals with interdimensional aliens to give himself a fighting chance here against Flash. Rotates around with some of these Vultures on the top side of the map. Just 2 Vultures here from Flash, and if Ample catches these off guard and kills them for free, that's going to be insane. He's already got some mines laid out on the map as well. It looks like he might potentially catch these 2 Vultures of Flash. This is a pretty big tipping point, though. There is 2 Vultures showing up from Flash to turn the tide and slightly come out ahead on the trade. He's going to retreat to the safety of some Goliaths, but Flash looks like he has stabilized the potential of taking a deficit there. Dropship coming out from Ample now. I wonder if he's going to do a Goliath drop. That's something we don't usually see on maps that aren't island maps, but this was the way Terrans used to play way back when. Like, Goliath drop was like one of the go-to styles for TVT when we had so many island maps and what have you.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. Far distance for Flash to come back and try to defend this, and Goliaths do a pretty significant amount of damage to SCVs. They kill them off very quickly, so not quite as much as Vultures, but they really do hold their own. Let's see how many kills he can get here with 4 Goliaths in this back pocket. Not really going after the SCVs immediately. There goes the first one. Tanks have already been pulled back. Second SCV goes down. Not quite what he was looking for, though, just yet.
No, second dropship coming out as well. Not that much anti-air for Flash to utilize this. He's going to put this back in the natural. Try and pull the tanks back out of position while the second drop comes in to the front line. Maybe getting a slowdown on this CC coming up from Flash. Not bad tactics here from Ample, but slightly suboptimal execution. Could have killed a lot more SCVs at this point. Has killed a few more now. Good micro as well, starting to scoop up the low HP Goliaths first. Everything kind of lining up for Ample. He's finding himself into a slightly better game state, especially considering this was a CC first from Flash. Not bad at all to kick things off.
Yeah, doing a pretty good job of pulling Flash back and forth. The double dropship this early on in the game is quite a commitment, but he's making it work. For the most part, he's getting into a lot of factories. Looks like he's actually ahead in factory count. He's ahead in supply. And he's getting this third base online about the same time as Flash. So Ample putting on a heck of a game right now. And great dodge there as well. Keeps that Goliath alive and might be able to retain control of this high ground. Wait, he does not have siege mode. There's siege mode, comes online right now at the perfect moment, right at the end here. But there's a lot more tanks for Flash. That's due to all the drops that were made and the Goliaths as well. Goliaths not able to hold their ground, and now Flash is going to take over this high ground. Big moment here as Flash sieges up.
Yeah, this is a huge tempo swing. Positionally so fantastic for Flash. Ample puts a tank towards the natural 4th location. He needs to keep a lane open to keep expanding and stopping Flash, tightening the noose around him as the game progresses, but this is so hard to combat with this massive line of tanks on the high ground. Flash going to be feeling way more comfortable about his position. He's even starting to pull some Wraiths back at home as well. That's going to give him a nice tactical advantage, especially since I don't think Ample is making Wraiths. He just made a couple of dropships and goes back to producing off a crazy amount of factories. He can't really afford to make Wraiths with this many factories online unless he cuts production somewhere. This is going to be a really tough game for Ample to navigate.
Looks like Ample is going to try to utilize the tech that he's got. Try to use these drops to throw off Flash, but he's going to spot this. He sees it as the drops are coming out, and back at home, Flash is building Wraiths. If he catches these drops as they're moving across the map, could be a massive moment. Yeah, here he comes. He's going to see this. The Wraiths have been revealed, but no response from Ample. He's not even paying attention here. He's trying to drop in this back corner, but he's going to lose both the drops. He only got one Goliath out. Oh my God, Ample loses so much there. Gets absolutely destroyed, and all this army is going to fall as well.
Yeah, I think the other dropship was filled with units, and the other dropship only had one single Goliath in it, so he killed the dropship with the main threat inside. He even laid down a few mines in case that drop was more successful from Ample. Flash playing pretty much perfectly right now. Oh, Ample needs to be careful. There's a few mines here in this natural fourth location. Flash would ideally want to shut him out from having access to that base. He's got some tanks and other units towards that location, but Ample has retained some control over this area. But Wraith's now coming in to pick off that low HP tank and try and threaten this position from our challenger Terran, who honestly did a pretty good job in this game up until this point, but it's starting to look like Flash might run away with this game positionally.
Yeah, that shutdown on the drop was absolutely massive, and now this attack on the high ground as well. I don't think that Ample can sustain this. Okay, a few vultures are left over. Can he get a good mine hit? It's really going to come down to that. Targeting on the mines with the Wraiths. Ooh. Flash keeps them alive, and he will surround this tank. He should be able to now control this ramp we got here on screen and really start to choke off Ample in any directions that he wants to try and push out on. One Valkyrie, not the greatest against Wraiths. Valkyries, honestly, they do kind of counter Wraiths, but it is funny the way that the interaction occurs, and that if you have only one or two Valkyries, they really don't do that well. Oh my God, Ample bleeding tanks on this high ground, and in a moment where he just cannot afford to let anything slide, he is letting Flash get even further and further ahead through a few small mistakes.
Yeah, he's going to try and challenge the high ground now. He needs to get some kind of win under his belt, but there's so many tanks on this high ground from Flash. Some vultures showing up as well to help secure the position. Ample's in so much trouble. He's locked out from his fourth base. Flash isn't even expanding behind this yet, but he has got a science facility working on that +2 upgrade timing. Pretty good mine connection there as well. Everything is going swimmingly for Flash presently, and he's starting to get confident. He's starting to push forward towards the rally point of Ample to completely contain him. Also coming down with some of the tanks from that high ground location to the north. Ample's in so much trouble, Sam.
Yeah, that attack onto the high ground ridge was about as good as Ample could have hoped for, in that everything was unsieged at a kind of a rough moment there for Flash, but he re-sieges, he holds off everything, and now he's got the stranglehold here on Ample's natural. We may end up seeing a tap out from Ample here soon. They're still both on 3 bases, but the positioning is so good for Flash. Yeah. It'll be just a desperate struggle if Ample is able to break out of this, and +2 is done. Ooh. Flash has the upgrade timing as well, and he's breaking into the natural. He doesn't even have to do this, but he feels like he can make it happen. He can end this game right here and now. Flash, no mercy, no slowing down. He's just going to bust right in on Ample.
Yeah, he can two-shot tanks with that +2 upgrade. Ample has not much of a fighting chance against this. He has a dropship to try and maybe see if he can land something on these tanks, but I don't think so. He's going to tap out. GG is called, and Flash taking a very decisive 1-0 lead in the series over Ample.
Flash got the Picari sweat there, chugging it. Man, that brings back memories. I mean, he's still the same guy that he's always been. He is still the ultimate weapon. Holding a bunch of Picari sweat in his cheek as he plays. Like, old habits die hard, man. Flash is back in the ASL, and it is incredible to see. His TVT here is outstanding, and in an ASL where TVT has been such an important factor, there's been so many Terrans. Flash is such a massive factor to try and deal with. You do not want him in your group unless you're Jaedong, man. It's crazy. It's crazy to even think about the confidence that Jaedong showed today. But Flash is looking fantastic. He's ready to go here for set number 2.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to have an absolute field day with Ample. Ample does not look comfortable. Seems a bit uneasy after how that first game turned out. Had a pretty good strategy, just didn't quite have the execution to put Flash on the back foot. Going to be taking a little bit of a sip of his drink now. Goliath drop could have done slightly more damage, but let's find out what he's got cooked up for our second game of the series. Ample versus Flash on Knockout. Let's get it started, guys.
Ample spawning in top left. His opponent, Flash, in the top right. Looking absolutely unstoppable there. Ample did not play a bad game, guys.
Right.
He is a great up-and-coming Terran player. He had some good ideas there. His first couple of drops did very well. But the shutdown on drop number 3 was devastating, and that push that stole away the high ground, talked about it at the beginning of the game. You cannot allow those ridge lines to fall to your opponent.
Right.
It's a battle, a fight for those 2 locations, and once Flash is sieged up on your high ground, it's incredibly hard to win. Now here on Knockout, will the same sort of game occur, or does Ample have something else for us? Will Flash get away with another CC first? We're about to find out.
I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it, I guess, Sam. We certainly could be seeing that from the God Emperor himself. Playing like an absolute madman, but wasn't even enough to beat Jaedong. Though he might be able to get some of that pent-up aggression out on Ample in this series, and then maybe Bisu in the finals as well. Normal Rax timing here from Flash in the main base, whereas Ample looks like he might be actually thinking about going for a CC first this time. Bit of a role reversal, actually. Flash is looking to do a gasless expand himself, whereas Ample's going to throw down this CC.
I think this is a good call. Ample,
Yeah.
you know, Flash, not really a big BBS guy. And so Ample just kind of gets away with it. Yeah, Flash he is a CC first guy, but he is also a gasless fast expand guy as well. Like, he has one of the most powerful gasless fast expands against Protoss that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
He is super, super good at optimizing and just shutting down any sort of aggression from the Protoss player and just getting a great mid game out of this build. But here versus Ample, he's actually going to be slightly behind. Again, it's not a huge difference, like I said in the last game. The CC first gives you a tiny bit of a lead, but it's not impossible to overcome.
Yeah, it's not like a total build order win. You know, it's a soft advantage here for Ample. Flash scouts it early, putting a bit of pressure on this building SCV, slowing that CC down by a few ticks. Also not going to be committing the SCV into the main base for scouting. He knows what Flash is up to with this Rax FE gasless style. You could go for a fast drop off of this build for Flash. It is possible, but the SCV is not going to be able to stick around long enough to ascertain that. So he's just going to keep that SCV alive. And we'll be enjoying a slight comfortable economic edge. But he needs every help he can get against Flash. Like, I almost feel like this is like close to being an even game rather than being an advantage for Ample.
Yeah, I can get behind that sentiment, Xun. This guy is so good at eking out every little advantage, and Ample is going to have a hard time no matter what kind of build he starts out with. CC first here is going to allow him to get a very quick third factory. He could have also gone for a starport as well. Starport can be pretty strong to try and counter some aggression from Flash, but getting these factories out this quickly, maybe he can leverage some of that early eco lead to try and like overwhelm with the Vulture War. What do you think, Xun?
Well, they are both setting up for Vulture War. Ample's got 3 factories. Flash has 4 factories on the way, which is insane. He's gonna go all the way into so's Ample. Oh my gosh, they're both hiding a factory in the natural. This is about as Vulture War centric as you can get. Sometimes you'll start off with 3, then you'll eventually transition into tanks, but no, they're doubling down. They're making 4 factories worth of vultures in this game, and usually the player with the better mechanics comes out on top, unless you just get unlucky and get your vultures caught with their pants down. This is going to be a real slugfest between these two now.
Man, if Ample loses a Vulture War versus Flash with having CC first advantage, it's going to be rough. Yeah, this is 100% a Vulture War with that extra factory going up. You just can't afford to build anything else. You can't afford to build Goliaths or tanks with this many factories this early in the game. It's just not going to happen. So 100% mass Vulture from either side. This used to be how Terran was played pretty consistently for a couple of years, actually.
Yeah.
In ASL. Wasn't too long ago that this was the standard. We would see games like this almost every time, but it's kind of fallen off. It's kind of fell by the wayside. People have gotten a little bit better at defending the Vulture War style, the mass Vulture style, but with both of them headed in this direction, we're going to see a bit of a blast from the past here, and it really comes down to the first engagement and who's going to have better concave, who's going to have a better targeting as well. Flash gets his rallies here to the front a lot faster, and look at how many more vultures he has in comparison to Ample. Ample is just behind, and he is going to start to snowball this lead, dude. Flash is completely overwhelming him, and like I said, it really comes down to this first engagement.
I mean, he's got 5 factories, by the way. He only had 1 SCV on gas, whereas Ample kept mining gas. He's so much more optimized for this Vulture War than Ample is. And with that 5 factory production, he's going to overwhelm this position of Ample. Oh my gosh, this could be Ample being eliminated in just a few moments. SCV's coming off the line to try and body block. He's trying to stabilize. Repair going down onto one of those vultures. There's just too much stuff from Flash, though. 5 factories worth of vultures. A very tight build from Flash, optimizing for this style. Does actually suicide a vulture in, though. Not quite losing it, but takes a lot of damage. Can Ample hang on to this? He has a trench to work with as well. If Flash commits into this, might be having to suffer some missed chances. But Ample is in so much danger. Imminently, he could be eliminated at any moment from Flash.
You're so right, Xun. That extra gas just sitting in the bank right now for Ample Flash optimization's absolutely on point. And he doesn't have to attack into this, but if he does, he can force a lot of SCVs off the line and potentially get even more kills on that economy. Ample struggling to pump enough vultures to hold on to just survive against this next attack. Tanks coming across the map now, 2 from Flash. The lead has been extended even further, and Flash may end it here, or he may want to pull back. Tank out for Ample as well. What's going to be the call? You might end up throwing here as Flash. You might end up losing a bit of the advantage and, you know, having a very long game in a situation where you could have potentially ended.
Yeah.
Let's see how this next fight goes.
Yeah, he could just contain him and then get up to a third base. Siege mode finishing first for Ample, but Flash pounce on that tank, targeting it down in very quick succession. Also has his own tank in the back line, adding damage. Here comes the siege mode now to add Splash into the equation, trying to get over that trench to get optimal firing going. But so far, Ample has held the line. He's got a second tank coming up, has a Wraith advantage now, and with the additional scouting of the barracks and the Wraith, you can shoot further than Flash can, unless the vultures are out in front. So he picks off Flash's tank, holds the line, keeps Flash back. Meanwhile, though, Flash going to be taking his third base right now. The aim of the game now just to contain Ample with these mines and keep him locked in on these 2 bases for as long as possible. Despite having slight air superiority with that Wraith, Flash will now have an expansion lead.
Slight reset here. Looked like there was an opportunity maybe for Flash to just win this game outright, but Ample has held on with that Wraith play. 1 tank, not actually part of this fight right now for Ample, but he is able to get on top of these tanks, and he gets a couple of really important mine connections, killing off 2 tanks for just a few vultures. That was a really good trade for Ample. He's almost right back in this, Xun.
Yeah.
Making a very good attempt here to try to turn things around against Flash.
Yeah, it's not bad to start things off here, going into the mid game now. Flash setting off a massive SCV train to saturate that third. There's a tiny window where maybe Ample can get out onto the map, though. There's slightly more vultures for Flash because of the commitment to kill those tanks. Good mine connection, though, on the tank of Ample, but there's not a lot of stuff here for Flash. Ample does have a chance at pushing Flash back before more reinforcements can get to the front line. Seems like no, he's not going to be able to quite do it. Flash does keep his forward position. He's got mines blocking a CC being made at the third base, so we can see when Ample will be taking that. And as long as he's got center control right now, he can feel pretty comfortable with his setup, and he's starting to make his own Wraiths. But here comes the Wraiths of Ample into the main base of Flash. Sees the starport but doesn't see it blinking, but there's a second starport that's already producing Wraiths, so Ample might be feeling pretty comfortable for a second here, but pretty soon Flash might be able to overrun him in the sky.
Well, Ample has at least opened up the lane to potentially try and take center left. Now, yes, this base has been online quite a bit longer for Flash, but that's not as important in this matchup. It's not quite like you know, ZVZ or PvP, where the player that gets a base up sooner is just light years ahead. Here, Ample can potentially stay on 2 bases a little bit longer and get this up a little bit behind schedule and still be okay, but Flash is going to end up with a tank advantage. He's had that extra gas for quite a bit longer. This catch is massive. Going to see these vultures being transported into the main and shuts that down quick. No Goliaths here for Ample, but he's got some Wraiths, and he gets the first volley as well. Flash is not paying attention. 2 Wraiths immediately go down. Big catch for Ample.
This is huge. Now there's still that air superiority for Ample. Flash will have to pull back from this position. There's no Goliath on screen just yet. He was relying on his own Wraith switch, kind of seizing the tempo away from Ample's Wraiths, but was busy shooting something and got caught with his pants down, unfortunately. There is a lot of units here for Flash, though. If he can get a Goliath over here to support these units, he can start running it down on Ample, who might struggle holding off this many vultures and this many tanks in reserve. Ample could still find himself dead. He's lost a massive connection. 2 tanks going down, 2 mines there. Everything kind of lining up for Flash. Ample's taking his mineral only, whereas Flash has this gas expansion at the 3 o'clock, so he can afford a lot more tech. He's going to be racing ahead towards that +2 upgrade timing. There's even some Valkyries starting to come out because Flash has identified that it's really important to actually get back air control away from Ample. Runs in with a couple of Cloak Wraiths and this Valkyrie to shut these units down, but trades off both of his Wraiths for it. This is a really tense game, despite the advantage here for Flash. Ample is playing a pretty tight TVT too.
Yeah, Flash is not playing perfectly here in this TVT. We see little mistakes here and there. You know, we see units that are rallied, you know, getting killed off. We see fights not going perfectly for Flash. Little bits here and there are going wrong for him, but overall, he's definitely controlling this game. He's keeping Ample back and contained over here on his side of the map. Flash, meanwhile, extending himself way out into the bottom right. Ample may be able to get down there and slow down that base. Maybe get a kill on one of those SCVs would be quite big. He's actually got more vultures, I think, than Flash right at this moment. But Flash has that +2, that all-important +2 on the way. He's going to have +2 for a lot longer than Ample. Like, Ample is going to be minutes behind on that. And that advantage might just snowball Flash into a massive lead once again.
Good jostle for position here from Flash to keep Ample from scouting and shutting down that base. Coming online in the bottom right, he rotates to the 3 o'clock base to hunt down some SCVs instead. Doing a pretty good job of reducing this SCV count, but not doing a whole lot. And here comes a dropship now from Flash before turrets can be set up in the main base. Valkyrie out of position and wouldn't even have enough DPS to shut this down anyway. He's going to land here in the main base of Flash. It looks like he's actually rotating down with this dropship instead. Flash not really pulling the trigger on dropping any units, just maybe distracting Ample with this play. Maybe the dropship's even empty, or he wants to hit this 9 o'clock as hard as possible with some supporting units, and there it is now. He's making a big play for this 9 o'clock, distracting Ample back in the main base and then rotating down here with additional reinforcements as well as the units from that dropship right as the SCV train comes in as well.
Not really dealing any damage to this SCV train, but Flash has opened up a bit of a lane here. Could potentially slip in. Gonna bring the race forward, kill off that Valkyrie, and then maybe go to work on these tanks at the front line. There's the scan, but it's a little bit too late. Can he kill the Goliath here? It looks like he might lose one Wraith, but I think he kills the Goliath now. And this will allow Flash to push forward even further. He's going to kill these 3 tanks most likely, or at least force them to unsiege and move back. Then he can slowly slide forward here. Has the +2. Once he gets into position, it's going to be so hard for Ample to dislodge him. Ample is being bullied off of this 4th base, and he's trying to take a 12 o'clock, I believe.
Flash is just being way too effective with these Wraiths. Ample can't keep up with the interactions that Flash is able to levy his way. Some desperate attempts from some vultures to lay down mines on top of that siege tank line leading to the 9 o'clock base, but it's not successful enough. And these Wraiths are having a field day. They've killed so many of the tanks of Ample. He needs to keep this base online, but he's sacrificing so many of his units to do it, and with that +2 upgrade advantage, Flash is just trading out so cost efficiently. And just as Ample starts to rotate down to that 9 o'clock yet again, Flash starts hitting from the front as well. Ample could be close to tapping out in this game at this point. You can see the disappointment and the emotions as he slumps back in his chair. GG is called, and Ample is eliminated from the ASL. Flash advances to the final match to face off against Bisu.
Well, that's kind of what we expected. Flash so good at TVT. Uh, you wouldn't really anticipate Ample making it through. Uh, Definitely low odds there. For those of you who are big Ample fans, don't worry, this guy will be back next season. He's been growing by leaps and bounds and showing a lot of confidence as well. Just picking Jaedong in the first place was huge balls, and he's created himself eh, basically a group of death, and he's the first one to die. It is what it is, man. Ample, he's out for now, but this group, we owe it to him for
Yes.
bringing us this absolutely epic group. So, salute to that guy. We're going to be going to a short commercial break, man. Bisu versus Flash for our final match. That's coming up just 7 minutes. And we are back, guys. Bisu versus Flash for the final match. What an epic adventure we're on here today, Xun. Starting out with Bisu versus Ample and Flash versus Jaedong, and ending here with Bisu versus Flash. These old rivals, these old competitors that have been at it for 15, 20 years. These guys have been around for an incredible long time. And
Yeah.
like I mentioned at the very beginning, Flash's career kind of started out
Mm-hmm.
with a massive battle versus Bisu. And here we go, guys. We're about to get into it. Attitude for our next map.
Let's get it, guys.
Bisu spawning down here in the bottom left. And we got Flash over here in the top left. Sorry, didn't mean to steal your thunder there for the intro.
No worries, buddy.
But I'm surprised that Attitude wasn't vetoed by Bisu. This is, I think, a highly tiered and favored map.
That's pretty good.
Maybe he doesn't agree, but I feel like this is a really strong one where it's pretty tough to bust open a Terran as they're taking their third here. It is a mineral-only third, but those two little chokes going around that island makes it a little bit tough. We'll see how how Bisu wants to play this one out. If he can somehow find upper hand over Flash, despite the win rate on this map, that can't be the real win rate. No way. That's definitely not the map win rate. 83%.
That was the top three TVP players win rate.
Okay, gotcha. 83% for Flash, I imagine.
Yeah. Nuts.
That's gotta be him. Like, nobody's got that high of a win rate. This doesn't exist.
Oh, jeez. This guy is such a monster. Gonna be a forward gateway for Bisu. And it's close positions, so he's kind of getting a little bit fortunate to kick things off. 12 gas from Flash, optimizing for a 2-minute 29 factory. Probe coming into the main base, putting a little bit of damage onto that SCV with the particle beam, but Flash is going to keep that repaired up a little bit and fully back this probe with an additional SCV to stop any crazy shenanigans from occurring. Does slow down the barracks ever so slightly, forcing a quick termination of that building cycle to stand and fight against the probe, but nothing too crazy here.
Flash keeping on top of it. Bisu doing his best to disrupt what he can. And staying persistent. First Zealot making its way across the map, sticking with that build that he used against Ample. Game 1 forward gateway to pressure. Factory on the way, though. And yeah, we're going to have a nice straight-up game here with Flash. Oh, gotta be careful.
The moving shot on the Marine.
Too ahead of yourself here, Flash. Hold on a second. That's a lot of damage. This Zealot follow-up is actually going to be pretty powerful with that much harassment to start off. He can defend the Zealot, or he can defend the SCV on the factory from this position, and the third Marine is out now. It's a bit of a dicey situation, but Flash not going to lose any Marines, and Bisu just going to fall back for now.
Has sustained some damage on those Marines, and second Zealot on the way. Flash scouting the main base. Sees the range spinning, so knows this isn't going to be like a DT crazy shenanigan game from Bisu. Needs to be careful, though. Ideally, he wants to come down here and secure the natural as soon as possible, but might be forced to throw down the bunker. And indeed, he does start that bunker, knowing that there's going to be a Dragoon following up behind these Zealots. Vulture slipping out onto the map now. Zealots retreating to the safety of their home, as the Dragoon now, alone in its endeavors, does get a couple of shots off on this Vulture of Flash. Needs to plug the hole to stop the Vulture getting inside the main base, but the Dragoon pops out just in the nick of time to shut that down anyway.
I like this decision from Flash to just grab that bunker right away. So many Terran players want to mess around and try to get the CC out first and, you know, be a little bit cheeky, but Flash knows that his situation is precarious with the low health on the Marines. He wants to get the Vulture on the map as soon as possible, and he's doing a good job of avoiding the Dragoons for now, but he might be trapped up here. Oh, is he going to be able to slip away? Looks like Bisu turns the Dragoon at the last moment. He was almost going to catch on to that, but SCV meets the Vulture on the map in a safe location, gets the repair going here, and can keep that Vulture active, looking for opportunities to set up mines to keep tabs on what Bisu's follow-up is about to be.
Yeah, nice little pit stop for that Vulture. Also slows things down enough for Bisu to lose track of it. It's going to help out Flash. Not only keep that Vulture alive, but he's actually going to try and poke him with this Vulture. Needs to be careful. If he takes another volley, he does lose the Vulture before any mines can be laid on the map. A little bit of greed getting punished. Unfortunately for Flash there. Definitely going to be helping Bisu feel more and more confident as this game develops. Flash just sitting back, powering off of those 2 factories. Meanwhile, Bisu went into a robo off of this one single gateway to get as crisply timed of an observatory as possible and get some scouting information inside the main base with that observer before a turret ring could ever have a hope of being set up. So that's definitely going to be a small edge to Bisu going forward. Let's see if Flash wants to get a bit aggressive now and do something like a 3 or a 5 tank push. I think after losing that Vulture, it's too risky. I don't think he's going to move out with these 3 tanks. He could go with 5 and try and apply some pressure to Bisu, but for the time being, he's going to sit and macro up and maybe wait for 5 tanks total before even thinking about moving out.
Little cracks are showing for Flash. Like, we saw some little errors here and there in the earlier game versus Ample, but there's no reason to lose that Vulture. Throwing that away, definitely a mistake from Flash, a rare mistake from him. Pushing out with this many Marines, though, and a ton of tanks. Going to be following up with Vultures behind it to rally. This could be a pretty scary push. We'll see if Bisu has the Reaver out in time, because the Reaver will absolutely demolish these Marines. I really like the Pylon as well, man. That Pylon is giving him quite a good amount of time here. Probes being pulled off immediately, but they're all getting blocked up behind the Dragoons. Taking this super seriously, pulling the probes off immediately. A lot of probes are going to die. And actually, he's not targeting the tanks very well either. So much of this tanks fire was spread out over a lot of these different tanks that Bisu has just been shoved right back into his natural without really getting much kills on these forces. Flash is going to keep pushing in now with the rallies, getting the mines here at the bottom of the ramp and killing off a lot of more probes.
Yeah, he's starting to set up turrets as well, making this contain even stronger. Bisu looking for compensation, sending the Reaver directly to the main base of Flash, anticipating no possible defense set up back there. There's a turret that's just about to finish as the Reaver pokes in, and has got a few mines here as well to stop Bisu from making too much progression. A little bit of a tickle of repair on that turret as well to require a 3rd Scarab to shut it down before he goes deeper with that Shuttle Reaver combination. But this push from Flash is so successful. If he doesn't get major damage inside the main base of Flash, he's pretty much going to be at risk of conceding this first game quite early on. Flash is doing a phenomenal job running the SCVs around. Got a tank in the back pocket as well. Nexus going down. Bisu is in pure desperation mode, and the turret positioning is so good that there's nothing that Bisu can achieve with this play anymore, unfortunately. Flash is just sewn up so tightly.
Yeah, the hold was where things really went wrong there for Bisu. You know, not buying time and pulling the probes the way that he did didn't do him any favors. You know, he just kind of threw the probes out on the map, and so many of them got stuck behind the Dragoons as everything was fighting. This is a little bit sad to see Bisu go out like this, but Flash is going to get a win here in no time at all. Bisu going to try to maybe slip out a little bit on the map. Oh my god, he even eats a mine. That's worst case scenario, losing a bunch of health to this mine. When he's even got an observer here as well. Dude, Bisu kind of underperforming. And it's a little bit sad to see. Flash is just turning the screw on him now and closing him into his single base in the bottom left.
Yeah, this was such a successful endeavor from Flash. Not only going for the 5-tank push, but so many Marines and 3 SCVs in assist. Bisu had an opportunity to maybe stop it in its tracks and buy time for that Reaver, but a bit disjointed with the way he brought the probes to bear. Now making his way out onto the map with a couple of shuttles, forcing a bit of a retreat from Flash now. This is also going to be feeling just fine for Flash since, you know, it's 2 base versus 1. Like, Bisu has to do critical damage to Flash to make this game playable. Let's see if he can achieve that. There is still some units of Flash ready in the main base to respond to this. An unload of Zealots come down, 2 Reavers to utilize to try and out-micro Flash. Maybe someone like Snow could find a way of making this work, but Bisu not quite the best micro in the business with these shuttles and Reavers. And he takes a tank shot to those Reavers already. This is not looking good for our Protoss player, Bisu. He's sneaking an expansion at the 6 o'clock, utilizing those shuttles to ferry out some units. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Look how bunkered down Flash is. Supply depot walls, plenty of mines, plenty of turrets, even a bunker amidst it all. This is going to be such a challenging comeback for Bisu to execute. Ooh.
I really don't know what Bisu can do here, man. I'm getting a bit of lag here. Go ahead, Xun.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be GG. Bisu taps out of this game number 1 against Flash. The God Emperor very close now to joining Jaedong in that round of 8. Just needs 1 more win, but Bisu can still turn it around. He can still drag this out to 3 games and make up the difference from that pretty disappointing hold in game number 1. Had a pretty good opening, put a little bit of pressure onto Flash, but Flash is the defense master. He didn't even blink despite taking a bit of damage onto those Marines to begin things off, and made so many Marines for that 5-tank push. I expected the 5-tank push, but I didn't expect him to make quite that many Marines. It was really insane, and this is the kind of style that Flash used to like going for a lot back in the day. It's actually how he played against Now Ra in the series Now Ra Old Boy. On Fighting Spirit, Flash was top right, Now Ra was top left, and he did a pretty much similar thing, trying to make bunkers and pushing with a lot of tanks at that timing, but Now Ra managed to turn the tide and push Flash back and had pretty exceptional Reaver control. You can get a win in that position, but you do need phenomenal micro to make it work, and Bisu was just a little bit sloppy with his execution.
Yeah, bit of a rough hold there from Bisu for sure. Maybe nerves getting to him. You know, he wasn't happy about how this group turned out, and had a bit of a rough couple of games versus Jaedong. Now he's down 1-0 versus Flash. He's got to pull it together, man. I mean, Flash does look a little bit beatable. Like, there are things that he's doing wrong that are putting him in a bad position here and there, right? It's not like he's making, you know, tons of mistakes, but there are tiny little things that he is kind of messing up on, like losing that first vulture. Throwing that away is absolutely massive. Not getting any mines off of it as well. There was an opportunity there maybe to hold that push to buy time for the Reaver. Let's see if Bisu can keep it together and give us another great game. Guys, here we go. The final set 2 knockout between Bisu and Flash. Let's get it. Bisu over here in the bottom right. His tournament life on the line. He's down 1 game. He's feeling the pressure. There he is on screen. And his opponent, Flash, over here in the top left. The ultimate weapon. God, some would say.
Yeah.
Holding that Pocari Sweat in his mouth and playing at 470 APM. Kind of a special dude.
Definitely, yeah. Arguably the greatest gamer of all time. Still here playing in 2026. Could be his final season ever, so a real privilege to be bringing you guys this coverage. If you do like what we do and want to support us, consider checking out our Patreon page over at Saiyan Xun Duo Casts. We really appreciate all of the love and support you guys are providing us. We do this coverage for free, so it would be great if you can help compensate the amount of time we invest into the game that we all love and help us in our journey. Big thank you to everyone that has supported us along the way. And yeah, this is like a dream come true. I wouldn't have imagined in my wildest years, in my wildest dreams for all those years ago, that we'd be here casting the ASL Flash Bisu Jaedong group. I mean, absolute insanity, Sam.
Yeah, it is truly a dream come true, man. Bisu gonna open up with a Nexus first. I just want to mention, oh, CC first here from Flash as well.
Go on.
All right. I just want to mention, if you guys don't have money to support on Patreon, but you still want to help out, come over to Saiyan KCM channel on YouTube and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We're starting a new season of KCM this week, and so we'd love to have you come and check it out. The English cast for the KCM is a lot of fun. We've been doing it for years, and it's just such a nice sister tournament to the ASL. It's a lot different. There's no mirror matchups. You got teams of players representing each of their races. But it's a lot of fun, and I would really appreciate your sub. Also, I don't have any control over StarCastTV, so if you guys have a problem with StarCastTV, I've had a lot of people message me asking, "Hey, can you change this about StarCastTV?" Sorry, guys, I don't have any control over that. That's
yeah.
Just send a message to StarCastTV. You know, join his Discord. You know, leave a comment on his videos. But I can't help you guys, and I'm getting tired of answering messages, so just a public service announcement here.
Yeah.
You know, take it up with him.
I have talked in DM with him, Cruiser that is, a little bit, and there will be no more like spoiler titles if there are like little snippets of some of the games. So most of your complaints should be resolved. But yeah, anything else, go talk to the guy himself on his Discord. But jumping into this game, what a start for Flash. Basically blind countering this Nexus first here from Bisu. Even getting into the main base with the SCV Scout, that's pretty huge as well. He's going to be feeling fantastic. He's already 1-0 up in the series, and he's got a slight build order win to kick things off as well, saying, what more does the God Emperor need? Seems like the stars are aligning for this guy to go super deep in the tournament, maybe even getting through to the finals. I would love to see Jaedong versus Flash in the finals. Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. But, you know, just 2 factories on the way for Flash, nothing crazy. Sees the 1-gate robo tech transition from Bisu. This is about as standard as it gets with these openings.
And just to mention, the drawing for round of 8 is going to be done after tomorrow's group. So Group D, that'll be tomorrow. And then directly afterwards, there's going to be drawing of balls.
Yeah.
As is tradition. The only caveat is that players who get out of the group first have to face off against players who got out of the group second. and you can't face off against someone you faced in round of 16.
Right.
So, barring those two rules, we're gonna see how the group stages pan out, how the round of 8 gets set, and then we'll know what's possible for the finals and you know where things are gonna land, because 1 out of 3 chance for Jaedong to be on the same side of the bracket of whoever gets out of this match, which I think probably it's going to be Flash, but we got to wait and see here as this first couple of vultures make their way over towards the natural. Bisu has everything locked down. He's not going to take early damage, but he's also being slowed down in a potential third Nexus if he wants to come out. Grab that here in a moment.
And that's a big deal when you're up against a CC first. So yeah, this is looking better and better for Flash as this game develops. Eventually canceling the pylon that he temporarily plugged up that gap with. I know Light was saying that he really wants to win his group for a chance at getting YSC in the round of 8. He really wants to stop that underdog in his tracks. We'll have to see how that all pans out. Right now we've got Bisu moving out with his shuttle. Also got a probe coming out here to maybe look for an expansion, but there is mines at both of these locations.
Yeah, mines and the vultures have spotted this, so it's not going to last too long. Bisu should be shut down his third base attempt. And now passing the 6-minute 30 mark. This is going to start to get a little bit late here. Bisu may end up being behind the curve with his expansion timing, and will be forced to actually take the Nexus over at... Oh my gosh, diving in, but 4 Marines right there. Total prediction from Flash. He knew exactly what Bisu was up to and completely preempted him, and he snipes the probe. Oh man. It just does not get better here for Flash.
Yeah, my mouth was just hanging open with how much of a soul read that Flash has got right now. This is the kind of Flash we looked at in the past, where he just had all these timings mapped out in his brain, and he had quite literally some of the best star sense out of any player, and he's looking so fantastic in this game. Bisu having to take a mineral only consolation prize for his third base at quite a delayed timing as well. Nothing going well for him in this game, and after losing that first Reaver shuttle, Flash is really in the driver's seat, actually currently ahead on supply, which is insane. Flash can pretty much do what he wants. He can stay on 2 bases, power up on factories, and go for a push. Might be safer to just translate this into a 5-factory quick third base, though. We'll have to wait and see how he wants to develop the game state, but the world is his oyster for the time being.
Man, Bisu could have come in from so many different angles. There were so many different options there for him to fly in, but he chose the natural, and Flash was just 100% there for it. You're right. Total soul read from Flash, just knowing what Bisu was going to do before he even knew what his plan was. And now Flash is bearing down on the natural. He's got tanks spread across the bridges, which is very hard to break. And he's not being, too quick about it either. He's being really careful, making sure that he's got tanks spread out behind the lines here. These tanks at the back may end up getting taken down, but some mine connections go through as well. Goliath's going to try to jump on top of the shuttle. Pretty okay trade here for Bisu at the back line. He's going to cut off reinforcements, but this army is still scary. Flash going to dive on top of the mineral line. Oh my god. So many probes are going to fall, and Bisu is once again falling apart.
The tank positioning was phenomenal from Flash, keeping that 1 tank in the back far out towards the center so the reinforcing army could help buffer against Bisu, giving him an opportunity to pounce onto that third base with the vultures to snipe the workers. Flash playing out of his mind right now, taking a third base behind this off of those 5 factories of production. Such a hard map to stop these Terran advances on with those bridges. Bisu has 2 angles of attack now, coming in with a couple of shuttles to bomb onto those tanks with some zealots, but not being super successful. Is going to at least get this tank in the front line. Has a Reaver finding some connections with the Scarab. Does pick off one of those tanks. Gets the second Scarab off as well, but so many units showing up for Flash. His macro is on point. Bisu in a world of hurt now as once again Flash starts to pressure this third base from Bisu. Still with his Vulture alive. Bisu's just gonna tap out. He's eliminated from the ASL, and Flash goes through to the round of 8 looking so clean, joining Jaedong.
Oh my god, let's fucking go, baby. Holy shit, this is amazing. What an end. What an end to Group C, the greatest group of all time. We started out by predicting that Flash and Jaedong were going to get through, and you can see why. These guys are insanely good. Bisu looking devastated here. He looked devastated the moment that he saw his group. He knew this was going to be tough, and he was not disappointed, man. This is so sick. Like, how did he have it so perfectly set up here? Bisu's definitely out of range. He's got nothing to view the high ground there. He's just standing directly in the path of this attack. Shuts down the Reaver and immediately pushes with the 5 factory. I mean, textbook perfection here from Flash.
Yeah, that was such a good trap. As soon as he sees the shuttle, he's like, okay, I'll just commit. I can't really like keep hooing and harring with this shuttle. I'm just going to commit into this natural expansion. There's a little pocket of units waiting for you, and you have to unload. If you try and turn away, you'll just die to the turret anyway. So masterfully executed, and you can see Flasher, he kept a tank in the back line, so his reinforcements would buy enough time for his vultures to then rotate to the third base. Just nothing Bisu could do was the right answer. Flash had perfect contingency plans set up from start to finish. If you go here, I go there. Nothing was the right answer for Bisu after conceding that first shuttle and Reaver in the natural. Phenomenal play from the God Emperor Terran himself. We're getting a look now of him center stage, gonna be talking about how he feels, and he said he was in this tournament to win the entire thing. This isn't just a one last Hail Mary. He is gunning for it and looks like he's in fantastic shape as well.
Destiny, Xun. It's arrived. Flash, I think, destined to face off against Jaedong in the finals. I'm calling it right now. I've been talking about it since the very beginning of this season because I feel it in my bones, boys. This is the season. It is so incredible to be here with you, Xun, casting this. Thank you to everybody out there who's watching live, who's watching in the future on StarCastTV, watching on YouTube. Really appreciate you guys hanging out and being a part of this incredible moment of Flash making it through with Jaedong. And of course, you guys need to show up for that group, that TVT group. That is a requirement because we're going to be checking out the drawing for round of 8 after that is completed. It might be at midnight Korean time, guys. But as long as it takes, Xun and I will be here casting the ASL for you guys and watching for that draw stage at the very end as well.
Absolutely. And it might be a bunch of TVTs, guys, but they're going to be bangers of TVTs. We've got Barracks, we've got Later, Royal, and Lights. It's going to be an absolute televisual feast of TVT. And players like Light, they are going to probably be trying to play out of their mind. A lot of these guys are desperate to try and slay YSC in the next round of 8. But the only way to do that is to win your group. So a lot of those guys are going to be playing their heart out we haven't seen a lot from Barracks. You know, he's got the seed in that group, but he hasn't really been showing up to pro leagues and what have you. We haven't seen a lot from him. We have no idea what kind of shape Barracks is in, because obviously he didn't have to qualify either. So he's kind of, in a weird way, a dark horse, despite being the seed for the group, just because we just don't know what to expect from him. And, you know, he could have improved a lot in this time. Who knows what his training regime is like. But also, Later has been playing out of his mind this tournament. Some really spectacular play from him as well. And then you've got Royal, arguably one of the best Terrans on the planet, besides Flash. And then Light, you know, Daddy Terran himself. He's got so much experience, and he's also phenomenally good in TVT. Those could be some of the highest level TVTs we see in a very long time.
Such a cool group too, because Royal and Light, they made it through together in the round of 24, and they end up together once again. Another TVT, all TVT group, and they're actually looking like two of the best players in that group as well. I mean, Barracks is strong. He's a very competent TVT player, but I don't know, man. I feel like Royal and Light are going to be the favorites there. Leda, I mean, I love his TVZ. I think it's so much fun to watch, but I'm not sure if he can keep up with those other TVT players. It'll be fun, despite not being one of the most popular matchups. I think it's evolved a lot. It's been very cool to see that evolution take place over time. But guys, the end of Group C. This was so highly anticipated by everyone, including myself and Xun.
Absolutely.
And we've just witnessed it. We've just lived it. And the best possible result has been has come to fruition here. Jaedong and Flash are going to be in the round of 8, and they could be on opposite sides of the bracket, destined to meet in the finals.
Oh, I really do hope that does come to fruition, saying I'm going to be like a kid at Christmas or in a candy store, or both, man. I was super excited for this group. I even made a mistake and called something too early because I got caught up in the moment. You know what they say, it's about the journey, not the destination. And I definitely lost myself on this road trip more than a couple of times. I was just so blown away by the spectacle of it all. And yeah, I think the best thing happened. Not only do we get Jaedong and Flash advancing, but because Jaedong advanced first in the group, that means we got to see all three players play against each other. So I'm really happy about that result. I'm sure there's a few Bisu fans not too happy with him getting eliminated, but I'm sure they can forgive him being up against the monsters that are Flash and Jaedong. Definitely understandable to concede the group to those two. Valiant effort from him, but unfortunately Flash on a different level today. Had an absolute soul read on him as well, especially in that game number 2. What can you say, man? What a real treat, a privilege, and an honor to be here alongside you, Saiyan, in the caster booth to bring you some of the most epic StarCraft we've seen in a very long time.
What a great decision by Ample as well. Shout out to him for making this group the group of death, the ultimate group of death.
He did a civic duty
by picking Jaedong, and of course Jaedong, picking Flash, just an incredible choice, and not going to be regretting that at all. He got that game in with Flash, and he played absolutely out of his mind. We expect nothing less from him with the current rating he has acquired in his online performances, in his pro league performances, showing up here today and just knocking it absolutely out of the park. Some perfect ZVP play, man. I think there's going to be a lot of Zerg scratching their head as to, like, how does this guy even do it? Honestly, his performance today, unbelievably strong, and this is going to be a moment that players are going to be looking back on and studying for many years to come as they try to replicate what Jaedong has been able to accomplish.
I mean, I have to pinch myself to check if I'm dreaming or not, saying, I mean, maybe this is a simulation, who knows, but the script writers are definitely working overtime, because what a crazy group. And the fact that we've got the rivalry between Jaedong and Flash in this ASL, maybe for the last ever time, but the fact that they're both in such peak condition is insane to me. Flash is, you know, a little bit younger than Jaedong, but they're both quite old for pro gamers, yet they're still able to perform at this level. It seems otherworldly. Like, if you told me there was a conspiracy theory and these guys are actually aliens or like transhumanists and they've actually got like AI in their brain or something, I'd probably believe you with how insane they are able to play. It's mind-boggling.
Well, I mean, as good as Flash played, I feel like there were tiny little cracks here and there.
Mm,
I think though that with the way that this group turned out, uh, Flash might feel even more motivated to practice and perform because of
right.
how his games went against Jaedong. I'm sure he's not happy with that performance. I'm sure he's going to be looking back at that. You know, even his games versus Bisu that looks so strong. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he made little errors here and there, and he's gonna have some time. He's gonna have a couple weeks potentially. He's either gonna be in, you know, A or B next week or C or D the week after that. So like there's I guess it's not lettered after or in the round of 8. It's just gonna be one versus one. So um, you know, he has some time. He has a little bit of time to potentially go back to the drawing board, practice up, get into the best shape of his life, and I'm super looking forward to seeing more from these two guys. But that's gonna be it, guys. Tomorrow, the 4 Terran group followed by the draw for round of 8. I am super excited for that as well to find out how that round of 8 is going to come out. Um, appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody who supports us and watches us both here and in the KCM, everything that we do. We love you guys. We'll see you in that group D.
We love you guys. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.